recording it for posterity, and now I'll play this. 3, 2, 1.
Dear True Psychic Tales Magazine, it's me again, Rasputin Aquato. I know I write a lot, and you haven't printed any of my True Psychic submissions so far, but this one's different. This one's true.
Hello, one and all, and welcome to Core. This is Core, where we talk about video games, stuff happening in and around the industry, and what we're playing, and more. I'm Scott Johnson with Bo Schwartz and John Jagger, and we are diving in today with all kinds of cool stuff. I did want to say real quick, it's John's fault that I started a whole new run in SteamWorld Dig 2. So thanks a lot for that. You got me inspired. Yeah. I mean, I was already kind of, eyeing it because you talked about it the week before that you'd gotten it, but then you played some and you were like, man, that game looks good. And I went, yeah, it is good. It plays good too. Yeah, it does. That game's great. I want to play that again. And so I did, and I got kind of deep into a whole new playthrough, and I don't even need to. I have like almost everything unlocked on another version of it, but I'm like, oh, I'm in front of my PC. Let's go ahead. Let's make this happen.
Hey, turns out that game's good and looks good.
It is good and looks good still to this day. I cannot wait for they're working on a new SteamWorld based game. It's 3D in the sense that it's not 2D sprites, but I can't tell what that game is yet. I don't know what they're doing, but the robots look great and they all go when they talk, and you got me all into it. So good job.
What else do you need than that? Like, their art style's great, their robots are great.
Yeah,
I'm excited about anything they do. They're
very, very good. And also, when you get to Heist, let me know, because I want to hear your take on Heist. I'm sure you'll tell us on the show when you do, but SteamWorld Heist is amazing. All right, that's it. Let's get right into it and get right to the news. All right, there's a few things going on. You guys like Dungeons and Dragons? We all do. We're fans.
Yeah, we do a whole show about it, as a matter of fact.
That's right. We got one this Saturday. Very exciting. Under Bo's masterful GM tutelage, we'll be playing this weekend. Right, Bo?
That's the plan. Let's play some D&D.
So,
yeah, we're playing D&D.
D&D's owner, Hasbro, I don't know if anyone knew that, but Hasbro is the parent company, owns Dungeons & Dragons, a bunch of other properties as well. They're buying D&D Beyond .com and all of its resources, a thing we use quite a bit when playing our games, and so does a lot of people. And that tool set will now be theirs. I don't know how I feel about it, other than maybe they'll just keep treating it like, I don't know, they'll like Twitch with Amazon, or that's another good example of somebody who bought a thing and then just sort of let it grow and just gave it money. I can't think of anything, but maybe D&D Beyond will become even better or worse. Do we have a take? Do we have an opinion?
Yeah, that's the theme of today's show. It feels like, looking down these notes, is like, hey, sometimes people buy something and ruin it, and sometimes people buy something and make it better.
Sure.
Sometimes people buy something, leave it alone.
Mm-hmm.
You kind of never know what you're going to get. It can kind of go either way. So I hear this and I think, oh, that opens the door for a lot of potential cool things. And then I also go, it also opens the door for a bunch of meddling in something that actually works pretty well. So we'll see.
Yeah, Wizards of the Coast said, there's a quote from them. It says, "We have no plans to stop supporting D&D Beyond." It's a weird thing to say. But,
right. Usually you go, we bought it and we're going to make it better, and we're going to do some good things. Instead it was just like, well, we didn't buy it to shut it down.
Yeah, I don't like that. But it is, okay, so there's some historical precedent for this idea. Google does this all the time. Other companies, Apple's done this. They buy a thing, a service, an app, a developer, somebody, whatever, and the only reason they bought it was so that they could either take a couple of things from it and integrate it into their own thing that they had plans for already, or they'll shut it down completely so that that little bit of competition is no more, and they can go ahead with whatever their plans were. Sometimes they get it thinking they got all kinds of big plans. Let's say the Skype acquisition by eBay back in the day, and then they just piddled it and did nothing with it. I don't think that's going to happen here. It feels like D&D Beyond is, well, it's the number one kind of tool set in its class. Nobody, they're ubiquitous and everybody knows them. I think they really do have an interest in having that angle when it comes to digital play and internet interest and just overall usage, like that's a powerful thing to have to back up their game. And who knows, maybe leverage that for other projects and products that they make. So I'm okay with it. Bo, you worried at all that your old pals over there at D&D Beyond are about to get all Hasbro-y? We're gonna have to play. Well, no, you'd like this. You want a Transformers D&D module? Guess what? I got good news for you. Hasbro owns them now.
Yeah, but I don't know if the company making the TTRPG is actually the part of Hasbro family of things.
Oh,
So it might be a weird licensing thing.
could be.
But yeah, they own it. They probably could. I don't know what the terms of that deal are, but yeah, maybe they could leverage the technology for other IP. That's a great idea.
Yeah.
Give me a D&D Beyond of Transformers. That's for sure. I love it.
Yeah, it'd be great.
Yeah. Thoughts on this? So I'm sure a lot of people assumed, because I know I did at first, that D&D Beyond was already run by Wizards of the Coast. It's right, right? Like that.
Yeah.
That's the first thing. So I'm sure some percentage of people reading this are going like, "What?"
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fandom that runs it, right? Like those janky ass ad-filled wiki sites that where you go look up things to do on Elden Ring and stuff, like, or whatever game you might play.
Yeah, it was actually
company?
originally in 2017 launched as one of the Curse properties. So Curse Gaming with, MMO Champion and a million other things. That was theirs.
But then Curse was sold to someone else during D&D Beyond's lifetime, and there was a lot of worry about the future of D&D Beyond when that happened.
Yeah.
Um,
Twitch, right? Didn't Twitch buy him or something?
no,
Curse?
I think it was a private media group.
Oh, okay.
It was one of these 10-cent types, but for
Oh, I know what it was. Twitch bought the game. They bought the portion that was the game mod / add-on updater thing, and then integrated it into the Twitch app. That's what it was.
But the other stuff was sold. I don't think it belongs to Curse anymore. The other part was eventually sold to some media. We should look it up. I don't really know. I just remember the trepidation. There was a transaction, and the fate of D&D Beyond was people were going like, oh, ooh, ooh, ooh. So some of this probably now with Hasbro buying it is to anticipate that response, like to say like, yo, this thing's working. And like, look, I used the 4th edition online character thing. It required like Microsoft Silverlight and shit like that, and it worked janky.
I used that too. Is bad,
and it was bad.
Yeah,
D&D Beyond, first of all, has generated more sales for Hasbro or Wizards of the Coast, whoever, than they could have done themselves.
Oh, 100%.
Like, without a doubt. Like, of course, at some point, people they're going to meddle. We're talking about a Wizards right now in a post-Magic Arena age, where they actually developed, for their other big brand, Magic the Gathering, developed an actual good computer program like under their name, because they are very hit and miss with the jank. For every great D&D video game out there, there's a real sideshow of a video game as well, and a lot of them are when they do them in-house, or they seem more close to the source than say getting a big studio to do it and leveraging the external expertise of a partner, like Larian, for example.
Sure.
Larian's going to make an awesome game. Dark Alliance, I guess that wasn't internal, but I don't know, that was panned heavily, and I don't know if it's that great of a game. Functional, the quality, so they're kind of hit and miss sometimes. So D&D Beyond working and being the phenomenon that it is, they should just be able to maintain it, and we're good to go.
Yeah, shouldn't be any.
That being said, there's a real issue, and I don't know that they're going to solve it. Probably their interference is not going to improve it, but it's such a busy ass website. I think the big thing with D&D, it's always been my struggle, is yes, there's a lot of rules, and content is in the form of books full of pages and pages of stuff, and that helps orient the DM and the players and what they do. It's not without value or merit, but it's a heavy demand on players in general. I'm often trying to think if there's a way to somehow, it would be nice in a perfect world where the laws of physics and these things that have to work the way they do, that we could just all sit down on a Friday night, no pressure, and play a game of D&D
Yeah.
and it be what it is.
Right.
The reality is there's a lot of work on the, there's a high demand on the DM side, which I've always been aggravated by. I mean, I just don't do it, and my friends will have fun or they won't.
Mm.
But as we do content for it too, I look at all the super DMs in the universe, and they hire contractors to do paintings and have miniatures and theme songs, and I'm like, I get the enthusiasm and totally do it, but it's just that creates a lot of expectation. The Matt Mercer effect, where everybody at home expects their DM to DM like Matt Mercer,
Yeah.
and when they don't, they're like, "You suck,"
Mm.
and it sort of creates this effect where it's like, it's just people chilling, play a game. No one's like, "Well, you don't behave like Mr. Moneybags when we play Monopoly or something." Like no one, like no one's doing that kind of stuff, right? Like so.
I
Well,
do.
I
I
like-
always
wait,
wear
I
a
love this-
monocle and a top hat to Monopoly.
Exactly. I love this idea that the Top Hat Larry or whatever. What's his name? Mr. Penny Moneybag.
I think it's something
Mr.
like that.
Penny, whatever. He's the DM of that game. That's great. Sorry, you've just really introduced a new idea to me that I've never.
I
had in
mean,
my head before.
at this point, Matt Mercer is the Colonel Sanders of D&D at this point. Like, if they were to start opening chicken restaurant, if Wizards were to start opening Dungeons and Dragons themes chicken restaurants, I'd expect Matt Mercer there in a bow tie as the logo.
Mhm.
Personally, that's what I would want to see.
He'd be your colonel for sure.
I mean, I kind of want to see it regardless of whether they open a chain of restaurants. But
Mercer's Chicken.
Yeah.
That sounds
Yeah,
that rolls
just
off
his
the
face. I
tongue.
mean, he's got
Yeah.
a beautiful face. It would work very well.
Yeah.
And then anyways, so yeah, this is a long, long rambling thing that I'm saying, which is just that D&D Beyond is complex.
Yeah.
There's just rules, there's stuff to click, and whenever I go to use it, I go,
Mm.
the character sheets work great. The character sheet function is great. You guys, I think, like it, but even then, it's still just so busy, right? Like sometimes we're like, do I have this item? When you're clicking through the menus and your sub menu here has 6 tabs, and it's just there's a lot of barriers to just get into the fun, and I think some of it's lost in the digital space when you're writing on graph paper, just the stuff that you have, and organizing it in a way as you as a player like the best, whether it's lots of little flashcards and little items, or you just like, I'm scratching shit on my paper, whatever. I find D&D Beyond forces everyone to be like a bureaucratic knowledge machine or something. Like, just you've all got to play in this system in this way, and it's not everyone's preferred style.
Sure.
And I don't know what the solution is. So, but I have a feeling
Maybe that's where
It
this
could-
will change. Maybe the money will be like, look, we're putting like some UX people in here. We're going to let them revamp what the interface is in terms of what the players and the DMs use and see, and let's streamline this and make this faster and this happen behind the scenes so they don't have to think about it. Like, if maybe that's the plan. I mean, they haven't really said, but
Yeah,
could
like
be
the
interesting.
rulebook presentation is really good. It's
Yeah.
very searchable. The monster thing, there's definitely useful stuff. I'm not saying it's bad. It is the best thing that exists for D&D online.
Hmm.
Better than these VTTs. VTTs have that problem way worse.
Mhm.
The one thing virtual tabletops, it's VTTs for people who don't know what I'm talking about. The one thing VTTs have that D&D Beyond doesn't have that I really think Wizards should be doing
Mhm.
is VTT. They should have a VTT. It's like they did everything but that. And the problem is, there's pros and cons to every one, but it's they're the Coke or Kleenex of the role playing space. I would really like to see them integrate what they have into a VTT. But I mean,
That is an
Yeah.
area, though, that I think they might be able to expand now that they're owned, though, because
Maybe.
you could see that maybe there's an issue with, if they put out a book of maps or something like that, or they put out an adventure module, you can see Wizards maybe being like, well, we don't want you to put high-res scans that are interactive on your website. We just don't feel comfortable with you doing that. If they own it, they might be more willing to go, all right, here's the art asset that's going in the book. Put it
Yeah.
on, a virtual tabletop that we create
Mhm.
around this system.
I like that.
and they have artists on staff, so like there are companies who do this kind of stuff, but they could produce a regular stream of content, constantly enriching. Like World of Warcraft right now has 9 games worth of content, and it's a very rich environment.
Mm.
They could be producing new content on that front
And they don't have to start over at scratch either. This thing's already established. It already has a huge user base. Like that's usually why you buy a thing
And
like
form
this
some
anyway.
consistency. It just helps their brand. One of the troubles I have with Roll20 whenever I'm making maps is like I like to pay artists for their art.
Yeah.
Nobody draws art in the same style, which is totally fine.
Mm.
But it's just so weird sometimes when I'm trying to get some harmony or get things that I want to look, and it's just like I've got this guy's like a Renaissance looking thing with this guy's comic book style, and like here's a photorealistic or just a photo of something. You know, a lot of people are taking a crack at this. There's Dungeon Alchemist, which looks really cool. There's I like to use not Dungeonator, although I think that's one, but I'm using Dungeon Draft, which it's the guy who make Wonder Draft. I love the Wonder Draft Dungeon Draft guy. That's one programmer making it. So even though it's feature rich and really good, you know, it's still limited in scope and art assets. And there's just so much finagling. And again, I just want to sit down. I want to be able to sit down, slap 3 maps together, you know, and have an hour of prep and call it good. Like if they can find a way to make, they have to find a way to make DMing like super accessible, because that's the gateway into the thing. The people who love to spend dozens of hours prepping and stuff, they're good. That's fine. Keep doing that. But there needs to be a path for people to like simply to DM a lot more straightforward.
I'll tell you who will make the big money in the next. If somebody does this in the next 5 years, they will get sold and make a ton of money. Here's all you got to do. I'd do it if I had the expertise and the wherewithal, but I don't. You make a website that is basically Dungeon Alchemy in terms of generation of assets and maps and stuff, but also one where it's all written in HTML5. You don't need a special client. You don't need a special computer. Anybody with a browser can run it. And you do all of that stuff, you know, behind the scenes, but browser presentation, including, you know, phones and tablets, all that stuff. So no matter where people are, they can access it. Make it so teams, a GM, and a up to however many players of teams can log into that same world that Bo just created, and now we're in it and we're playing in there. And you make that stuff just so simple and intuitive. And then you want to make a bunch of money and have Hasbro throw money at you, I guarantee they'll throw money at that. That doesn't exist yet. Like Roll20 is a thing and it tries, but it's clumsy and dirty and slow and, you know, resource hog and all of that. Like there is a way better way to do this. And part of me is like, sweet, maybe they're going to inject this full of money, and now, you know, they're not even paying that much for it, by the way. 146.3 million in cash is what they're paying for it. And they have an operating profit right now, just Wizards of the Coast, an operating profit of 547 million in 2021. Overall, with stuff that includes Magic, they did $1 billion for the first time last year in total revenue, which is a lot for them.
They're globally recognized brand. Like even Magic, you know, played the world over, man.
Yeah. So anyway, we'll see.
So the they have a big opportunity here, and this gives them access to the money hose. Now, I do pay a sub on D&D Beyond. I've paid it since we started playing. Like I've had it for 4 or 5 years now to get access to DM and tools and sharing content. Yeah. Enrich that sub for people to get access to all these things we're talking about too. Like the money hose is the money hose, bringing more people into play, making it accessible. Like if I was to show someone this site that wasn't into D&D and be like, so like just go to D&D Beyond and look at, like, open up that top menu. Like, holy shit, there's 500 books, 500. I'd be like, I need a degree.
Mm-hmm. That's a lot.
You know, like this is D&D. And the way you bring people in is you just play with them and show them why it's fun. But some people will still be like, okay, like, you know, you're playing a wizard, so it would be helpful if you knew how your spells work. And then they see like the thing for their spell, and it's like 2 paragraphs, and you know,
it's daunting.
It's just it is a game that requires effort. There's no simplifying it for everybody, but if there was a way to make it approachable, there's a big live stream happening soon too. I'm wondering if they're going to announce something big. Or if it's just
Wizards is Wizards of the Coast is doing it.
No, D&D, like the D&D. It's a D&D live stream. It's not Wizards. I mean, it's Wizards and Hasbro, but it's not concerning their other franchises.
Gotcha. Okay, interesting.
So there's gonna be some level of announcement. I just don't know. They have a book that's coming out soon, but I don't know if that's. We might hear plans about what's going on with D&D Beyond. You know, so.
That'd be good. Maybe they can address it. Well,
hopefully it's not just like here's a new skin for your dice.
Yeah. Well, here's what you might be doing in the meantime. You might be in space hiring pirates to get work done for you. Yes, that's right. No Man's Sky dropped another big free DLC, and it's called Outlaws is the name of the update. And it seems pretty neat. You can haul contraband, be a smuggler, that sort of thing, hire pirate wingmen, and fly a new class of starship. And there's a bunch of new ships in that class, which is pretty exciting. You can also wear capes. Do you know there's cape physics?
I didn't know there were capes. That's great.
Yeah, got some cape physics.
There's a lot of great capes in Elden Ring, so now I've become a cape enthusiast.
There are pretty good cape physics in Elden Ring.
On board with it. Yeah,
I will say that is absolutely true. So for the chat, I'll play a little bit of this video. You can see this cape physics. This guy running with his cape looks like a proper cape, maybe a little floaty, but he is in space.
I did see the video. I guess it just didn't strike me that there hadn't been capes in the game before. But you're right. Yeah. It's new.
Yeah.
I get excited whenever No Man's Sky does a new update. It's been a few updates now since I really dove back into the game, so I think this is a good one. I have heard rumors that there might be some bug fixing that needs to be done. I heard a few reports of players getting attacked by hordes of pirates.
Oh,
which sounds great. I love when things like that happen. But no, this sounds really good. I know they did a lot of work on ship-to-ship combat for this.
Yep.
So maybe my stoking the furnace method of recharging your ship's batteries, your shields, will be gone and fixed and better. I hope so, because that's the one thing about ship combat that I hate. It's like, oh, I'm in this cool ship fight. Oh, my shield's down. Gotta get out the shovel and put some more coal in the furnace so I can have a shield on my ship.
Yeah.
Like, it's so dumb.
Yeah.
But I love No Man's Sky. I think this game is great. It continues to grow and just seems cooler. So I'm really looking forward to getting into it. I had too many other distractions this week. It was the thing that I constantly said I was going to give a try and never got around to.
Yeah. And this one also claims that they've you alluded to it, but they revamped that space combat stuff entirely. Like I assume revamp means revamp. They've redone it. So there's a bunch of new effects, but also how it controls is different. That's one of the weakest parts of the game, I think, up to this point. So I'm excited to see that. And also quests where it's like, hey, we're doing some dirt here in space. I'm going to take these gargle blaster ding-dongs from planet Butt Muncher, and I'm going to fly them across the universe, and I might get in trouble for that. But it's okay, because I'll get huge money when I take it. I just like these clandestine piracy space thing is totally my jam. So I'm very excited. You can also do ship-to-ship combat in planet's atmosphere as well. And you can raid, or pirates can raid your settlement. So that was put in a couple of patches ago. They can now raid that thing. And they say flight accessibility has been significantly improved with an auto-follow mode and some other stuff for those who don't want to get too controlly with it. Anyway, space crime, man. Space pirates.
Yeah, I'm definitely curious. I'm going to go and take a look because I got my new sweet PC.
Yeah.
I've been playing Elden Ring on my Xbox still, so as we'll discuss later, I finished that game last time. So I'm looking forward to playing PC games on my new PC.
Yeah. It says literally in our notes, finished Elden Ring. Let's find out what that means later, because
I saw it happen. It's true. I know it's true.
You know what happened. All right. What else we got here? Oh, don't sleep on this if you never played it, because it's stupid dumb not to grab it for free. But XCOM 2 is free on Epic this week and this week only. So if you that, and I think the Ethan, what's the one, the walking simulator spooky game?
The Vanishing of
Ethan's
Ethan
mom.
Carter.
Yeah, is that it? Okay.
Yeah, I think so.
Vanishing of Ethan's mom.
Yep,
anyway,
she's gone.
She's out of there. Those two games, but in particular XCOM 2, free on Epic. I mean, the game's no longer a new game, but still one of the best things ever made.
So, yeah, if it does, I don't know if it comes with the expansion or not, but get the expansion for it. The expansion is well worth whatever they're charging.
Enemy Within, is that it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. That's the name of the first game. What is it?
I don't know what the expansion was. But you should
Shadow...
get it because it's really good. It basically changes that game into a much better game.
Right. Now, usually when it's on sale and stuff in other places, I think it was on the spring sale for Xbox. You could get it really cheap. Those all came with... Oh, War of the Chosen. right?
Oh, War of the War of
Yeah,
the
yeah.
Chodes and
The Chode, War of the Chode.
no, that the expansion really makes the game. That's the one thing is they're giving it to you for free. And it's like,
yeah. But the expansion's cheap, so get the free bit, the base game, and then add the expansion. And if you're okay with the Epic Store, Bob's your uncle. So go for it. I already own it in like 3 places, so I'm good.
yeah, same.
Yeah.
I have it on Steam. I have it on my Xbox. I have it on my PlayStation somehow. I don't know how I got it there. I didn't buy it. It's just there, and it's installable. It must be from a previous purchase I made on the PS4. I just don't remember. That one game that Phoenix, the XXCOM people made it, Phoenix Point. Yeah, Phoenix Point. Pretty good. It's on Game Pass. People should try that game if you like XCOM and you're sick of XCOM 2. Phoenix Point's pretty good. Didn't launch good, but it's better now. All right. Hey, check it out. Elon Musk. I don't know why I'm bringing this up. But
So we can have a similar conversation to the one we started with.
sure, I guess so. Elon Musk has offered 2/3 of an Activision Blizzard for Twitter. He wants to buy Twitter for about $41 million, a little more than that. It's like a legit offer. He wants to buy it and run it. And a lot of people are all over the place on this. There's, if you're a Muskrat or whatever his followers are called, if you're super culty about Elon Musk, you're stoked about this. Other people are concerned what it would mean, and my take is, I don't know. I feel like if I was a billionaire with that kind of money to throw around, I'd probably try to do some stuff that's better for humanity. So I kind of have my own little bent on this. But yeah, there you go.
It's a funny thing. I think it's just a funny thing for a person to be like, I will buy your bajillion-dollar company. It's not like this, like Microsoft buying Activision Blizzard. It's like Microsoft is an entity, a conglomerate of blah blah blah. It's a thing. This is just like it could be like Hiccup Joe down. If Hiccup Joe is like, oh, I gotta buy that Twitter. I got $87 billion. It's like.
Yeah.
But what's notable is this is a legit offer that someone is able to just do that. I don't know what the point of it is. Anyways, everyone has their own interests. I just don't see like I'm just like, why? Yeah. Nobody likes Twitter. Like, if anything, everyone's always like, Twitter should do this. Twitter should do this. No one's like, what's great about the world today? Twitter. Like, I've never heard anyone say it. I've never seen anyone tweet it. I don't know why anyone would want to buy it. I think it's, it's a fine service. Whatever. You can communicate. It's text. It's distributed text messaging. I'm sure it has important cultural value. I'm not trying to diminish that, but like,
I mean, basically, this is his take. He wants to take it and make it, in his view, it's not nearly free speechy enough. And basically, despite being the guy that was trying to get someone on Twitter shut down for tracking where his plane is all the time, he claims he wants everybody and all people to say whatever the frick they want on the
whatever.
On the
He's
service.
full of shit, just like everyone else, like in the world, and I mean everyone.
Yeah.
But like it's so here's the thing. We grew up when the internet was a place, like we think of the internet as this place that companies run that we get to participate in. We all have the internet.
Yeah.
You can start a server, you can make a page people can look up, and you can put whatever the F you want on it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we're not, that is free speech. That is free open internet.
Yeah.
By saying like, oh, because they can't post X on YouTube or on Twitter, you're basically saying those sites are the internet, which they've done a good job of indoctrinating us to daily habits, but that's on us. Like, why am I going to YouTube every day? Why don't I go to geocities.com/transformer fans? Like, or something. Like, the internet is the places you can visit on the thing.
Yeah.
And so like we're confounding a site with what the internet is, and forgive my use of the N-word, but it's the normies who've come into the internet who don't understand computers that much, who have a simplistic view of the internet. And we've all gotten in the habit of visiting these sites too, because I know better. And that's the architecture now of what's there.
Right.
We've centralized our behavior and given these places power. But like, really, Scott has a website. It's got frogpants.com. He can post whatever the hell he wants.
Yeah, I can put whatever I want up there.
Elon Musk can't tell him, they can't take him off of Frog Pants.
Well, they can if I do something illegal, but yeah.
Well, you have a posted. Sure.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about that. That's
And that's by the way,
easy
he
stuff.
mentioned that. He said you should be able to say anything that's legal, which is funny because again, he was the thing that he was trying to get somebody off the internet for was not doing anything illegal, but free speech is
catnip for conspiracy theorists.
Yeah,
you can
I
start
agree.
elonmusk.com and post whatever the hell you want within legal parameters. Your free speech is respected. If the host doesn't like it, host your own server. You can get a computer and you can host it from your own PC. Probably you'd have to, you have to learn how to do this stuff.
Yeah.
But like the idea, it's like saying I'm renting a storage unit, so I should be able to put whatever I want in there, including my collection of tigers. They might be like, tigers are against the terms of service. You can't put tigers in your storage unit. Be like, I thought it was a free country. I own tigers.
Yeah, his argument, by the way,
your own garage. You have a yard in your house. Get a garage.
I'm with you 100%. I'm with you 100%. There are people and him himself who think that this is different because it's now a town square.
He's playing a different game.
I know he's not even
playing a different game. He tweets and stock prices go up and down. He is on some other shit that you and I, the rest of us aren't.
Yeah.
And he's having a good time.
Yeah.
But see, like what Bo's saying is exactly right. Like if he really cared about what he says he cared about, and if he genuinely thought that it was in everybody's best interest, he would go make elonmusk.com and go, hey, here's a real social media platform for people that want to be able to say whatever they want. And he would hedge his bets and go, yeah, more people want that than don't. I'll beat Twitter at their own game by providing what people actually want.
Yeah.
You buy Twitter because at the end of the day, you know what you're selling is horseshit and not what people actually want. And you just try the hostile takeover bid of like, well, if I buy Twitter and I get it, then I can do this and claim it's for this reason, even though it's actually not in people's interest. But that's what I'm telling them it is.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, look, the way there's a million ways to take this conversation, and certainly people are already doing that. I think that this is probably, I mean, he's now a majority stakeholder in the company anyway. He bought 10 point whatever. It's not a controlling share, but it's the biggest share. It's
I read that
individual
if
share.
they don't make the purchase, he's going to sell his shares.
Yeah, and he
that
will.
Was part of the thing.
And if he does, I don't know if that means he'll sell them up or down. I guess what I'm saying is we now live in a time where I can't take anyone seriously. Even billionaires. I just can't take them seriously.
We're all getting gaslit on some level, not intentionally, not conspiracy theorists. There's a collective like, where's the study? Prove it. You don't know what you're talking. Like there's a collective mistrust that's going around that we're actively trying to solve right now. And I don't want to contribute to the problem by saying it's a problem. It's the end of the world. No. It's new technology. It's in everyone's hands. We're being a little irresponsible with it. And no one wants to take blame for it, but are very smart about blaming other people.
Yeah.
And certainly rich people, sticking their fingers in things, whatever side of the political spectrum you're on or whatever your point of view. It's difficult to have a conversation with, I don't know, how many people you guys got? 300 million. We got, 60, 70 million, right? Like we got a lot of people and a lot of people want to have a voice.
Yeah.
And if everyone's to have a voice, like you just can't read it all, and then not everyone's good at what they do, and not everyone has, so it's a big mess of communication.
There's some wisdom drops tonight from Bo from up north. This is good.
Yeah. Well, I've been thinking a lot about this because I would really like to stop this comes from a genuine place. I like computers, video games, and internet. I would like to stop using Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, all the things we think of as internet because I don't need them. They weren't there when we started. When I played PlanetSide back in the day, I didn't need any of these services. I don't know why they're in my life. And I view them the same way as I view my cigarette a day. Like I open my phone, I check Twitter. I'm like, why am I on here? I like speaking with listeners. That's the only reason I haven't closed the account. Facebook, I'm never on. I'm not on any other social media sites. I never close my profile down because I guess I'm trying to make a career out of this. And it seems stupid to be saying the things I'm saying when they're like, how are you going to find my podcast if I'm not on these places? But like, I'm just being honest about it. I don't like any of it, and I don't have a good solution, but I just feel that this whole idea that Twitter is has become this place where the only place that good conversations can happen. I'm pretty sure Discord is a better place to have there's an ADHD group I'm a part of. There's a diversity group I'm a part of. There are all kinds of little segments and communities that deal with things a lot better than the communities tab does or the NFT audio tab on Twitter does. Like, Twitter is not working very well at all. It's just there because it's quick to get to on your phone, and we don't have a better option.
By the way, I'm going to use that. I'm going to use that as an opportunity to promote something I did on Discord that I'm so far very happy with. We'll see how it goes, but it's kind of low key, not a huge deal. But if anybody listening, if this sounds good to you, I started on the Frog Pants Discord. Started a server channel called Frog Pants Do-Gooders. And here's the idea. It's really straightforward. Purpose: perform acts of kindness and good wherever we can, and whenever we can, at home, in our communities, and online. Think of it as a place where it's almost like a support group, but instead of weight loss and book clubs and that sort of thing, this group is about sharing acts of charity, helping with ideas to that end, encouraging each other to do good. Once a week, everybody gets in there and says, what good thing did you do? No one's keeping score, so if you didn't that week, it's fine. It's totally fine if you did or didn't. We just want to encourage it and share our stories with each other. It's important you made the effort, but again, nobody's keeping score. At all other times, it's a place for members to give each other ideas on specific acts of kindness people are planning, as well as a place to share how you feel and what you hope to do moving forward. I finally said this in there: cooked dinner for a sick neighbor. It counts. Left a positive note on the table for a very busy server. It counts. Put an elderly lady's garbage back or cans back after trash day. It totally counts. Small things, large things, everything in between. It all counts. Anyway, if you want to be a part of it, it costs you nothing. There's no lockout for passwords or any of this stuff. You just go join it. And I think we can actually do a little bit of good. It doesn't have to be a lot of good. I'm sick of a world where everybody's yelling into the void and can't actually do anything. So let's put a little rubber to the road and do it. Okay. So
I love this idea. This is amazing. Well,
you should join up as well, Bo, because you do a lot of good as well. So stick your head.
I'm not in the Discord enough. Your whole overall Discord unit is great.
My Discord unit. Ooh.
Yeah. Talk more about the Discord unit.
Yeah, more on the unit.
It's great.
I have to say the same thing. Like, Discord has I've been slow to kind of adopt Discord because there's something about it I don't like. I don't know exactly what it is. I think it's just I get notification anxiety, and Discord loves to give you notifications that there's something you need to look at. It's just very, hey, look at me, in a way that I don't enjoy. And yes, I know you can mute it before everybody tells me. I know I shouldn't have to work to get it to be quiet, though. I should be able to invite the level of loudness to me. But that gripe aside, I've been slow to get into it, and yesterday on Twitter, for what we do and how we make money and how we make a living purposes, I posted just a very vague, but I just said, hey, I'm not doing a stream tonight, taking an R&R night. Yep. And the truth behind that tweet was I was in the middle of heavy depression. I wasn't feeling good about what I was doing. I wasn't feeling good about my life. I wasn't feeling good about anything. I was bummed and I was down.
Yeah.
And out of nowhere, I don't know if this person necessarily wants to be called out or not, but I got a message from a listener. We'll just say Nate.
All right.
It's not exactly a made up name, but in case they want to be anonymous, we'll just say I got a message from Nate.
All right.
And they basically just said, hey, I just want you to know this is what I've been going through. These are my struggles. I have a new baby and having struggles there too. And I just want you to know that the show and the stuff you guys do has really gotten me through some tough and hard times and means a lot to us. And I know it probably doesn't always feel like you're doing something important, but it was important to me. And that instantly pulled me out of it. Meant the world to me to get a message like that.
Yeah.
That was super cool. And so, that's when social media is working and doing a good thing and people supporting each other. So
completely
agree. I
agree.
think that is a awesome it's an awesome idea. It's an awesome thing for people to do. A big thank you to Nate, if you're listening. I think
probably still listening,
for doing what you did. So that stuff's cool, and for all the evils it brings, it does bring a lot of good. It does bring us together as a community. And if Elon Musk messes up
It-
Twitter, we'll
What
go.
did you
We'll go.
call him?
Elon Musk.
Elon Musk is what I
Elon
almost
Musk.
called him. Elon Musk.
Elon
And
Musk.
if he messes up Twitter, we'll go somewhere else.
Yeah, that's fine.
Like at the end of the day, it doesn't matter, and it probably do us all some good to
Yeah,
switch.
Mastodon's
Just like,
pretty cool.
Just like when we left MySpace and went to Facebook, and just like when we left Facebook and went to Twitter, like it's probably for the best.
Yeah.
So whatever it'll be, we'll all be fine.
Yeah, I don't even know if he's going to get away with it, but it's interesting news. And I just wanted to say this one last thing. I was taught a lesson on The Simpsons ages ago about when people say the words like free speech, or they say words like freedom of thought, or whatever they're saying, whatever thing they're claiming and they're jumping on. This is usually what they mean. Here's a clip from The Simpsons.
All thanks to teamwork.
Yeah, my teamwork.
When Carl says, yeah, my teamwork, that's what they're saying. They don't really mean it. When they say free speech, they mean theirs. They don't mean everybody else's. So just remember that. Carl taught me an important lesson that day. It stuck with me for years. I finally this week found that clip, thanks to some listeners, over Twitter, which again, let's start using this stuff the way we want to use it. F everybody and their clowns. Screw them. I don't know why I'm giving everyone a thumbs up. All right.
F everyone in their clown. Look, I'm not about free speech, but I'm about free hair. So
Your hair is free.
I don't know where I land now on this.
It looks
on this
good.
Idiot meter.
All right, moving away from him, and the main reason I brought it up, honestly, is because it's I can't believe Activision Blizzard King is still worth more than Twitter. That just seemed insane to me.
I think the video game industry is one of those things where everyone's like, movies so much money and this so much money, and it's like, do you guys know how much money the video game industry?
Yeah.
spends
They got lapped a long time
earns?
ago, right? Like a long time ago, they got lapped.
Yeah. I just think it's still a smaller segment, a large segment of the population games, and there's still a segment of the population that barely knows just how much cultural influence and reach it has.
Yeah, I think we're
I
still.
talk to friends that aren't that old, that I'm like, Twitch, what they do, like, what's Twitch? And I'm like, how do you know? Like, what video games are? Minecraft. That, like, YouTube. Do you not know that people are gaming and connecting over the internet and like huge masses?
Apparently not to the level we are.
What?
But anyway,
What is this?
now speaking of playing together and D&D like experiences, I'm very happy this is on our list today. This week, Solasta put up a patch to their game. If you haven't played Solasta, it's a game based on the open source D&D 5e rules.
Open license.
Open license.
Not
What's that
open
called?
source.
Just ML.
OSRD, I believe. Maybe it's open source. No, hang on. Let me just look up what it is. D&D free rules. But basically, there is a component of the rule books which are open license. So you can write your own rule book and include this copyright content in it. Like, I'm not sure if Fireball is one of them, but let's just say Fireball's in there. That means you can reference Fireball and talk about the rules and even wholesale reprint the rules of Fireball in your text, and they won't sue you.
Right.
But you buy the books because only a portion of it. So it's like the NBA is not going to sue you if you write the rules of basketball on there, but you can't put a Bulls logo, maybe, or something. So
right.
The D&D thing, I want to say it's OSRD, SR, something like that.
I can't
but
remember.
OSRIC, I think maybe is something. I think it's something different.
Hmm.
But essentially, it's down. Like, if you want to play D&D and get a sense of it without buying anything, the rule book's available for free. Just go basic rules D&D, free download. I got the PDF open in front of me. There's enough here that you can start playing.
Oh, here it is.
Everything you need to is here to play.
They call it, Wizards calls it Tactical Adventures, but basically it's a license to use the D&D SRD 5.1 rules. So SRD, right? No, SRD.
No, Tactical Adventures is the name of the company that makes Solasta.
I'm so
That,
confused. right.
D&D
Yeah, duh.
open
These guys make
license.
the game. Now I'm confused. But anyway, basically the game is not a...
OGL, Open Game
Is it
License.
OGL? Okay. It's pretty cool because
No,
you can
maybe
take
not
this thing
OGL.
and you can actually tweak it, make your own tabletop experiences. A lot of DMs.
Oh, it is
use
called
for that.
SRD. System Reference Document contains guidelines for publishing content under the Open Gaming License, OGL.
There you
so
go.
there's SRD and OGL, and so this is not about whether the rules are free for you, though. It's about whether you can publish stuff on DM's Guild or your own homebrew content to earn money.
Right.
they're going to let you use some of it to publish books, basically, right?
Yeah.
So it's just there's a portion there, and it extends to video games,
Yeah,
which
it
is where
turns out video
Solasta
games.
comes in.
Mhm.
It's based on they haven't licensed it. It's not official from Wizards of the Coast or Hasbro. They're not making any money on it, but they're allowed to use the open source rules for their game.
Yes.
And that brings us to what you're saying.
And yes, that brings us current.
Which I can't remember. Hope you do.
Yeah, no, I totally remember. So they're great. I already like Solasta quite a bit. They have this really intriguing creation tool as well for people who want to create their own adventures and quests and stuff. That was a little not, I won't say half baked. It's just not done, and they've acknowledged as such. It's like, well, here's the basics. Get going and make some stuff, and there's some pretty neat stuff in there. But the campaigns that are included, including some DLC campaigns, and then some of what players are making, the character creation stuff, it's all very cool. The interface is the thing that impresses me the most. I've talked about it on the show before, so I guess refer to old episodes for actual gameplay. But the important point here is they've now added a co-op update for free to the game. So now you and your online buddies can run campaigns, including the main ones or created ones or whatever. You can run those together. I think you can have 4 of your friends. Well, 3 of your
I've been
friends.
reading 4-player co-op.
Yep.
It's forgive me because I know it's going to be a good game, and I'll get to a second comment in a second. But it does look like a poor man's Divinity when you look at it, just because the polish on the UI. There's not like little swirls and stuff. It's like gray boxes, right?
Yeah,
But
but
that might
great.
be meaningless. Like that's judging on the surface. And I will say, Scott, just moments before the show, I bought the everything pack.
Oh,
So
you did?
I'm taking a plunge on this game.
Ooh.
Well, the 4-player co-op sold me.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, okay. Now this game got 1,000 times more interesting. And if all they did was add co-op in it, I was like, oh, I have a reason to maybe check this out and to play with some friends because I really enjoyed Divinity. I'm looking forward to Baldur's Gate 3, but it's not done. I don't want to spend it. Spend my, I don't want to spoil things and just get into the experience quite yet, even though I'm probably going to with my new PC. But it's like perfect turn-based tactical game. I'm going to try it.
You should
So
play it, and you should
goodbye, Elden Ring. It was fun playing you, but I think it's time for other games now.
What's
and
cool?
Solasta just hit me today. I was like, oh, co-op.
Yeah,
now
no.
is and it's only the base game is only $16.99, like of Canadian.
Mhm.
This game is dirt cheap right now. Like,
Yeah, it's on sale.
yeah, let's take a look at this.
It's also
guy.
on Game Pass for anyone out there who's like, oh, I want to play this somewhere. Where can I play it? Game Pass has it on PC. PC Game Pass, that is.
They don't have the DLC, do they?
I think they do. I don't know if I think they got the update today as well. I believe. I have to check on that. I have it on Steam and Game Pass, but it's really cool and is so like has the spirit of what D&D feels like. I think here's what I want you to do when you've played it, Bo. Your report back to me is that interface that you're like, well, it's just gray boxes or whatever. I think that's actually the big innovation here. They didn't do something frilly. If anything, it feels kind of like a modern UI. But
it's clean and readable.
It's really clean and readable and easy.
It looks clean and readable. It
Yeah.
just there's something about it where I can see you looking at this and going like, this looks like a budget video game, right? And some of it's the characters just sort of stand there and talk. Like there is something about it being a smaller team that sort of communicates it.
The environments are really cool. The characters are a little stiff, but I think you'll like that interface. It sold me so hard. I love how that
It's
plays.
surface level judgy. Like I definitely know that games can be way better than what they look like. So not to judge based on that.
Yeah.
And I watched some gameplay today, and I'm like, your recommendation resonated in my head. Scott really liked this.
Yeah.
Scott's usually right. You've never steered me wrong before.
Yeah.
It's only going to be a taste thing.
It won't be this one then. I think this one will not send you down the wrong pipe. You're going to be like, oh, this is like real. In fact, if anything, it's going to make you frustrated that this isn't a tool we could use somehow for our campaign. Because
I looked into that.
Yeah.
I looked into that today. So yeah, I guess we can't, because the way it's to make a campaign, but it's just within the context of the game. There's no like.
I mean, you can roll characters. Correct. So the DM can make a world.
The DM can't control the stuff in the world.
Exactly. Yeah. And if they ever introduce that makes a whole new conversation around this game, because that would be incredible. And I know that was an attempt. They attempted to do that with Original Sin 2. Other games have tried to do this. Famously, what's the old BioWare game? Can't think of it all of a sudden.
Neverwinter Nights.
Neverwinter Nights. Yeah, there was an attempt to have tools and things that were kind of DM-ish and whatever, and it worked to some degree, I guess. But in this case, it's a little bit more focused on, the D&D experience. But hey, it's a video game, and it's great. I would highly recommend it to anybody who hasn't tried it. Again, it's on Game Pass. I don't know if they got the extra stuff today. They did get the free stuff.
Yeah. And I'll be streaming some at some point, so I don't know. Come check out the stream if you want to check it out before then.
Yeah, exciting stuff. The creator tool is also getting a massive update with like quest creation, and I'm gonna mess around.
And it's
with
like it's live. Because usually you hear something like this, like, oh, how long do I gotta wait? And I'm like, oh shit, it's all out.
Yeah,
like it's one of those things where like you're happy you didn't pay attention to it because you're like, it's here, it's Christmas today. Like, all right, for this game, let's go.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
So hopefully I enjoy it.
Yeah, if you do, and then you like it enough, maybe that's the next game we all put our heads in. I don't know. Okay.
I like the co-op multiplayer.
Tiny note that is mostly self-serving for me. Shipbreaker is coming out of early access on Steam on May, was it 15th? 16th, somewhere in May, early May, mid-May. So that's good news in its own. That means no more resets. It means I finally get my ultimate chore core game ever and play it as much as I want. Super great. But also they announced that will be a Game Pass PC day one release for anyone who doesn't have it. So if you have Game Pass and you were always a little curious about Shipbreaker and me raving about it on this damn show, now is the time. Well, May.
Are they adding any multiplayer?
I don't know. That was not part of the announcement. There's a new trailer out and some other stuff, but I don't think I saw anything about that. Now they may have some plans, some roadmap stuff I haven't seen, but that would be co-op in that game would be very, very cool.
I mean, do you know if with it being part of Game Pass now, that confirms that it's part of the Homeworld universe?
I don't think so, but that's a fair. Who owns Homeworld now? Oh no, that's still that's Gearbox. Yeah. So I don't think it confirms it. If anything, it confirms Gearbox. All of Gearbox's Microsoft's buying Gearbox confirmed. That's it. That's what we've. No, I don't know.
Wait, whoa, we figured it out.
I have behind the curtain wish listed. That's coming, right?
Yeah, I think so.
I have Homeworld 3 wish listed on Steam. So
that exists still, right? It's still a working concern as far as I know.
Vaporware, I hope so.
I hope so.
Although
as well.
I bought Homeworld Remastered because I never played 1 and 2, and I still haven't quite got to it yet. But
and
I don't know what the fuss is about.
Well, by the way, if anybody out there bought Shipbreaker, either on my recommendation or otherwise, don't feel bad that now suddenly you could have had it on Game Pass. It was still worth everything you spent and done in there. Okay.
Yeah.
And what if they haven't launched it yet, though? What if they bought it and they haven't launched it yet?
I mean, that's a good point. If they bought it, because John bought it and hasn't played it yet. That's what you're saying.
Well, I haven't played it yet either. I, in theory, could return it, I guess. But here's the thing. Here's the thing about Game Pass. I'm trying to cancel it.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
Nothing. I'm laughing at just the whole this. I hadn't considered this idea that some people may have bought it and have been sitting on it, like waiting for.
Especially because you keep saying, "Well, they're going to reset the progress." I'm like, "Well, Scott will put up with that because he loves it, but I'm not going to put."
Yeah,
up with
exactly. So you've been sitting on this thing, not unwrapping it until then. But like Bo said, you probably
Shipbreaker. I got confused.
Oh, what were you talking about?
I don't even know anymore. I think something broke in my head while you guys were laughing. I don't know what happened.
You might have thought of Scholastic because it is on Game Pass still. That might be what you thought.
Oh, maybe that's still in my head.
Yeah,
I was thinking of okay, that's where my head went. Was like, oh yeah, I could return it.
But at this price,
I was gonna be like, well, I'm not gonna return it because I'm gonna end up paying 5 times the price for it. And it's like we're talking about something else, Bo.
Well, plus at this price, there's no reason to return it. That $16 is well worth it and good to support those devs. So
I helped fund one of your favorite games, Scott. There's truly no greater gift that I can give to this world than that.
That's what I was thinking. What else could you do to top it?
Give the money to those. What are you going to do? Give $1,000 a day to Lost Ark, the crooks?
They don't need it.
Spend your $20 on
the Shipbreaker.
Yeah. I mean, what are you going to do? You're gonna buy Twitter and then say this?
Yeah, my teamwork.
Yeah, you can do that. Okay. Let's move on. That'll be May sometime. All right. Today we're gonna do something a little different for Dear Martha, but I don't know what because John hasn't warned me. So John, what are we doing?
I didn't tell you. We're gonna do 3 letters, including responses.
Oh my gosh!
And these are all letters to GamePro magazine from September of 1992.
What? I hope there's Mortal Kombat talk in this. All right.
I just thought this would be fun.
Let's do it.
We're gonna try it and see what people think.
But still in the tone of a letter home during the.
Yeah, so when I
Okay.
wrap it up, I'll do the response. I don't really have a Martha voice, so we won't do music for that. And then we'll do another one. There's 3. They're pretty short.
All right, let me give you some music for this. You know what? The Wii shopping music.
No, it still needs to be.
Oh, it
Dear
still
Martha.
needs
It still
Dear.
needs to
Oh,
be
I
Dear
thought you
Martha.
didn't want.
Yeah.
Okay, I can do
No,
that. Let's not do this, Dear
God
Martha.
damn, what a diva performer. Jeez.
Yeah, no, it's still Dear Martha.
All right, well here goes then. I'm starting it off now. Here we go.
My dearest Martha, I recently purchased the NEC CD-ROM at the CDR36 for an IBM XT with AT compatibility. I also own a Genesis and an SNES. I'm looking to buy the Genesis and SNES CD-ROMs when they're available. I would like to know if the computer CDs will work on the Genesis and Super Nintendo CD-ROM systems, and vice versa. Yours in this life and the next, Ben G.
Okay.
Okay, and I don't really have a Martha voice,
Yeah.
so the response would be, since all systems...
for you.
Should I just do a pretend Martha?
Since all systems have different CPUs and different CD formats, as far as we know, CDs will not be interchangeable between the Genesis, Super Nintendo, NEC, and CDR36 CD-ROMs. However, audio CDs will work with all CD-ROM systems, except the PC CD-ROMs. It would certainly be nice if we could all buy one CD player that works with all of our CDs, but it's unlikely to happen at any time in the near future.
What a nice lady. What a very nice lady. Very helpful lady.
What's her name? Did she sign up?
Yeah, does she have a name?
Thanks for writing home, Ben. This is Martha.
Your name's Martha.
That was better than-
It's Martha all the time.
It was
You were
always
like,
Martha.
I don't think it'll be that good, and you proceeded to do the best Cartman girl Cartman I've ever
Yeah.
heard.
Yeah. It was
All
very
right.
girl Carmen. All right, give
Get
us
ready
number
to
2.
start the music over because
All right, I'm
we
gonna
got
start
2
this
more
over.
of these to do.
Ah! Oh, sorry, that's not supposed to be that. Okay. Sorry. All right, here it is again.
My dearest Martha, I've heard rumors that in the arcade version of Street Fighter II, Guile can handcuff and punch his opponent. Are these rad moves for real? If so, I'd like to know how to do it. Will these moves be in the Super Nintendo version of the game? Yours in this life and the next, Tim S.
Okay. And now Martha.
Dearest Tim, in some versions of the original Street Fighter II coin-op, Guile can handcuff his opponent by doing a flash kick while throwing his opponent using the strong and forward buttons. This move was a bug in the software. It's been removed from the new arcade versions of Street Fighter II, as well as the Champion Edition. This move and the disappearing Dalzim, another bug, are not in Street Fighter II for the Super Nintendo. Yours in this life and the next, Martha.
Okay, wait. I have a very quick question. How is the handcuffing a bug? That's a deliberate thing where he does a thing with handcuffs. That isn't a bug. That doesn't make any sense to me. It's a terrible explanation.
I don't know. I'm enjoying this journey of nonsense.
Oh, it's amazing. It's amazing.
So, what did you get some internal emails at Nintendo customer service from 20 years ago, or?
No, this is just what they published in the magazine. This is great.
This is great.
Oh,
All right.
okay. This
I
is
went,
from
on
the
a,
magazine.
I went
Okay.
on a little kick of looking at old video game magazines
These are
on
great.
stream, and it's just led me down this path. I'm obsessed with it.
These
I
are
love it.
great.
All right, you got a
And-
third one, right? One more?
Yeah.
All right,
one
here
more.
comes.
My dearest Martha, how can I buy a virtual reality system? I'm very interested in getting one. Yours in this life and the next, R. Robertson.
My dearest R, hope you've been saving up your bucks. Currently, a virtual reality system's gonna run you something like $60,000. To date, the only unit available is Spectrum Holobyte's Virtual Coin Op system. See Game Pro Cutting Edge March 92. If you manage to buy one, give us a call. We'll be right over. Your love, Martha.
These are amazing. Are these actual magazines that you found, or did you find them online, or what?
Yeah, found them online,
That's
archived.
great. That is
Like
so
old
great.
Nintendo powers and stuff like that,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And like, what's that other one? GamePro. GamePro is a big one.
Yeah, GamePro. I think those were GamePro, right?
Yeah, those game.
Those are
Pros.
GamePro right there.
September
Sorry.
of 90.
I was having mind blanking issues at the start of when you were explaining some stuff.
It's all good.
I
I
sorry
love
if I
it.
missed details.
It makes me want to go like dig out all my next gen magazines and stuff that I used to have that are so not next gen the way that they thought they were, but I loved those magazines at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, all right, that's cool. Well done. Now time for this. The games we're playing this week. Ladies and gentlemen, I finally cracked open one of the great games of 2022. At least I was told it was by a lot of people. And
Hold on.
Go ahead.
I gotta interrupt.
Go.
You gotta ask this before you start.
Go.
Did you beat any games over the week, Scott?
I beat no games this week. No games were beaten.
Okay.
Yeah, in
How's
case
Ghost of Tsushima going?
Yeah,
That's
how's
going
Ghost
good.
of Tsushima?
I
Yeah.
did pop in there. I also played a little bit of Spider-Man. I'm not going to bring those up this week just because same
You
stuff.
finished Spider-Man?
Oh yeah, a little bit. I remember last week I went.
Spider-Man a little bit.
No, I didn't finish it. I just played more.
Okay.
In addition to what I played the week prior. I will bring those games up again if something A, significant happens, or B, I beat them. So that will happen. But it ain't.
So John, don't ask again and embarrass Scott. I'll bring them up again if something happens. Okay.
Yeah, dude. Listen, I'm committed. I'm getting that Tsushima done. It's happening.
Look, I'm just making sure that Scott keeps his promises. That's all.
It's just
Yeah.
fun to tease Scott about.
It is fun.
That's all
It's
is.
totally
Don't-
fine.
You don't have to finish anything, Scott.
Yeah, but you could. But it doesn't. I take no offense to any of this. It's all good. And I do want to. There are some games I do want to beat. Those are two of them. Anyway, so I finally cracked open Psychonauts 2 because I was sick of hearing about how great it was and how I missed out. And I thought, well, why don't I just try the game and see if it's good? Turns out that game is quite good. I got significantly far in it. Will I beat it? Probably, maybe one day. But I played enough to say that I think it's very good. I loved the first game back on the original Xbox and PS2 is where I played it. I think maybe it was PS2, not Xbox. I don't remember. But it, famously a Double Fine game, one of the ones that some people had said, people I know up at the university in the video game department say it's the greatest game ever made, which is a high praise for a game of any sort. Anyway, it's very good. That game's good. It's really pretty. It's somehow retains the feel and art of the original without losing all the shine and polish of a next generation game. And it's a very fun platformer with some crazy, stupid story stuff that is always fun. If you played the first game, you'll sort of know what you're in for. The environments are cool. The control's great. The story's good. Voice acting's good. That turns out Psychonauts 2 is good. That game is good.
Yeah, so it's the same sort of deal where you go into people's minds and that's the levels kind of thing.
Yeah, your levels, the levels you enter are the brain or the minds of either your enemies or sometimes people you like, or sometimes someone. I don't want to give too much away about the story, but somebody may get lost and you got to find them, and they're in their own head. I played a pachinko game that was like a giant pachinko game, and I had to be the ball and try to get to the heart of this pachinko machine, and it's kind of hard to explain, but it was delightful. Lots of stuff like that, like really creative environments and ideas and concepts, and the first game had a lot of that as well. But I think
what you're saying is this is the real Elden Ring.
Yeah, this is the Elden Ring you all asked for, and this is the one you wanted in the first place and never got.
I didn't know that. That's great.
Yeah. You beat the big
tooth
boss.
business on what you're showing is a little rough.
Oh, so the whole idea is that you are in. So you remember this guy on camera here? He's the bad guy, Lobato from the first game.
Yeah.
He has been subdued, and he's actually there at headquarters, Psychonauts headquarters. But something's going on, and nobody's sure what. So you're actually in his head for a huge portion of this, and for some reason, his environments are tons of teeth. Like this whole dentistry motif is everywhere. And I don't know why. Yet. I don't know why it's so important, other than that he's currently being worked on. But it's just great. It's very, very good. Very
I gotta play this. I gotta play this at some point.
Yeah, it's good. I dig it.
It's like it's totally my jam. I think I dropped off on the first one just for whatever reason. I don't remember why.
Mm-hmm.
And then the graphics kind of got outdated by the time I stepped back in, and I was like, oh, maybe another time.
Yeah.
So there's no excuse not to play the sequel, and just like because it's this gross, like it's a garden of teeth. That you're playing.
It's
like,
subversive. It's adult.
Totally my jam.
It's adult in some ways without being overtly adult. Like. It's hard to explain. It's like Tim Schafer
that Pixar
games.
thing where it's got it references adult things, but it will definitely fly over a child's head, so they could probably play it.
Absolutely, it's delightful in all the ways you want for a game that a kid might love, but it's also
we're not actually going deep on the dementia or serious mental health issues in some meaningful, scary way. Right?
No, but they also they do give a big disclaimer at the beginning, talking about we know mental health is an important thing, and we're not. None of this is making light of anything, and They have like a big whole thing about that.
Yeah. Well, they're still doing gross stuff. Like this teeth level is not for everyone. I happen to know John isn't a big fan of inside things.
Yeah. Because look at that. There's like veins.
We did that for D&D, and I remember you're like, I don't know, it's not my favorite.
Yeah.
It's a big deal. You're like,
I'm
not my thing.
Not loving what I see.
Yeah.
It sure is pretty, but tooth stuff. I got exposed to the horror movie The Dentist when I was really little, and that movie messed me up.
Oh man,
the movie was rough. I don't know how it holds up because it scarred me enough as a child. So
The Dentist. Is that with Robin Williams?
I don't know. I don't.
Or were you talking about Marathon Man, where
No, this was an actual it was a bad horror movie, but it was a case where he would just drill away a person's teeth, and they would do a close up of the mouth, and you just see the drill, and you just see it file away the whole tooth, and then he'd shove the drill into the gums, and blood would go everywhere. It was awful.
My gosh, that is awful. Holy crap! I don't blame you.
I recognize Earl Bowen and actress Corbin Burnson.
Oh yeah, Corbin Burnson from L.A. Law, and he was the other Q on TNG for one episode.
Yeah. He also happens to be in Kiss Kiss Bang Bang.
Oh really? Yeah.
Oh
I love that
well,
movie.
shit.
That
Should
great.
finally watch that thing.
But Mark Ruffalo is in The Dentist.
Really? He must have been young.
He must have been young. It was 96.
Yeah. That's pretty trippy.
Yeah.
So John, here's some environments are like jungles and mushroom land, and sometimes it's like a casino. It's
it's great. I love the creativity of it. I'm not saying they shouldn't have done it. I think it's very creative. It's just that stuff actually bothers me.
The warnings for him.
Not a lot does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The warnings for him.
we all have our thing, I guess. But it's a beautiful game. It runs really well. I think I'm going to give some more time to it because I think it's worth playing. It's just delightfully made little Double Fine game.
I'm watching this Dentist trailer, and they showed a little clip of one of the graphic scenes of him just smashing someone's teeth. Like it's not bloody or anything. He just got this thing and he's smashing the teeth into 5 million pieces.
Oh, jeez. That sounds bad.
It's in the trailer too. Because it's not that graphic, but it actually is like.
How did you end up watching that when you were a kid?
It was on TV when I turned the TV on, and I was like, "What's this?"
It was on TV.
I don't think it's that scary of a movie. I think it's thriller level, but because the teeth mashing is disturbing, but probably not enough to get an R rating. Like it's just chiclets or like Tic Tacs or something getting smashed.
That's horrendous.
Yeah, I'm with John. I could see that. I empathize.
I was at the dentist today, and in 2 weeks I got to go in and get a freaking crown. So all of this is sounding great to me.
The most terrified I've ever been from something on TV though was a old, I think, Game Boy Donkey Kong commercial. But it wasn't so much the commercial was terrifying. I mean, it was a scary commercial, but back in the day, we'll say this for the children listening, sometimes there were TVs that were old enough where you couldn't turn them on with a remote control. You had to actually go and stand right next to the TV to turn the TV on. This was a thing. Yeah. And I didn't know that the TV volume was very loud. And there's this old Donkey Kong commercial where there's a guy in like a full body cast and there's cops talking to him, and he goes, "Can you tell us who did this?" "Oh, you have it. Yeah. You have it. It's up there." Yep. That's it.
That was
okay. So that moment where it cuts to Donkey Kong, the gorilla in the ad, and he's like right there going, "Ah," That's what was on the screen the moment the TV popped to life and the volume became active, and it was right, inches from my face. And I screamed and I started crying, and it was, I don't know if I've ever been so scared in my life.
Well, we should give you let's do some exposure therapy, my sister would call it. My therapist sister. It's going to play the sound from this, and let's see what we get.
Let's hear it.
All right, son, point out the animal that did this to you.
That's not so bad.
The beast is back.
Oh, it's fine now. It's scary when you don't expect anything to happen, and it's loud right next to your head, and there's just a gorilla yelling at your face.
Yeah, that was a little intense, I have to say. Visually, I would have been freaked out too. 94. Yeah. How old were you in 94?
I would have been 10.
See, that's young enough to be freaked out by things like that. Yeah. I feel you.
9 or 10, probably. Yeah.
All right, now I'm going to give you guys the crazy. The other tiny thing I wanted to say. I don't know what's going on over there at xCloud. Like, their streaming stuff has had a boost in performance. Everything I've played on there this week, because I always try to play. If I'm playing an Xbox Game Pass game, I try to do it over a browser or something as part of my experience with it, because I just want to see how it performs. Psychonauts 2 ran really well and responsively over stream. I was blown away by that. And I'm not even on that crazy of a connection. It was like really responsive, like no discernible controller lag. Something's improved over there. I don't know what they did. There was some talk that they were putting Series X blades in a data farm to help boost. I don't know I don't remember what the deal was. I just know it moves faster. So there's that.
Well, that's good. I mean, I had a very favorable impression of gaming that way from GeForce now. So, Xbox didn't start off on a good foot when I tried it, but I'm sure they'll get there.
Yeah, it impressed me. And it may, mileage may vary depending on where you live and that sort of thing, as far as where the data farm is. But the other game I played, also another Game Pass game, also a Sony game. This year's version of the show. The first one was last year that showed up on Game Pass, the show 2021. This is the show 22. It's their MLB game. It's baseball. You're all going to go, great, we're going to hear about a sports game. Wake me up when you're done. Here's what this is what happened.
Yeah.
I get it finally. I wanted to see what the hubbub is. That thing is beloved by fans. People love that series. They adore it. And I never quite understood why, because it just seemed like a good baseball game. But, there's lots of those. And, I'd rather be maybe a little more arcadey in my sports games and that sort of thing. So it just never really pulled me in. And I never really gave it too much time. The fact that it's on Game Pass and just sort of there, I'm like, well, I may as well play this. Let's play this. And so I did. I finally get it. In fact, it's in the name. The name is The Show. All right? MLB The Show 2022. The Show, I've always wondered what that's about. I was like, oh, it's baseball. It's a big show, right? That's not it.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm thinking
That's not it at all. What it is the show is this. It's an RPG. You make a dude. Oh, I should have recorded some of this. You make a dude and you name him. Because I screwed up and was like hurrying, I skipped past that. So my guy's name is Joe Random. And when I say that, I don't mean like literally the back of his shirt says random.
Joe Random.
When he goes up to bat, you get a very impressive voiceover where the guy goes, all right, coming up to bat, we've got Joe Random. And like they'll say it. And his name is Joe Random. And now I'm in love with the name, so I'm not changing it. But it's crazy.
Now he's my hero.
It's crazy how in depth and RPG-ish that the show is. The mode that is like the big mode, and the mode is okay. I'm all over the place with this. Let me explain this. When you play a sports game in the past, all right, and if you're like, well, I'm going to play a whole season, all right. So let's say whatever game it is, a hockey game, football game, doesn't matter. I'm going to play a whole season. Well, how's that work? Well, you're going to play every game that you're in. And then all the other teams that play that you're not in, those will be simulated, and you'll get scores out of those toward the playoffs. But your games, you're just going to go play a full game every time. That's how seasons work. In this game, you make a player. You decide all the way up front, where is the strength? Is it pitching? Is it fielding? Is it, base? Is he one of the basemen? Is he, like all these kinds of questions. I chose pitching and then first baseman. So those were going to be his main roles, defense and offense. And I didn't know what's going to happen. I'm just doing this, setting up this character. I figured I might have to do a whole team of these guys, like 10 of these dudes. Like, how does this work? So, because it's a team sport. And the way it works is so genius. And I'm late to the game, so I know everybody at home who's played the hell out of these, you know this already, and I apologize for me not knowing this. But the way this works is you start in the farm leagues, right? You're in some AAA, crap teams out in the middle of nowhere. Yeah. And you're trying to work your way to the MLB and ultimately be, this megastar in professional baseball. It's also at this point that you choose all your methods of play. Like there's different ways to hit, different ways to field, a bunch of modes that you can change. It's kind of basically play the game the way you want to play it. So I set all that stuff up. And
that's what I did when I played last year's version. That's as much as I played.
That's as far as you got?
That stuff, yeah.
Yeah. Well, so that's usually kind of where I get. I'm like, okay, well, this is where I start and end. Instead, I decided to keep going. You go into the locker room. There's a bunch of options in there. Sometimes you have a conversation with your coach in between games. You make a decision with that coach. Sometimes it's a decision that will end up determining what team you go to next or what your role is for the current team. And if you want to change that or whatever, it's all done in these natural RPG-like dialogue boxes that you do. And you don't do them that often, but you do them. And then when you play the game, this is the genius of the game. I don't know about you guys, but a 9-inning game of baseball is long as shit. Okay. Yeah. Even in video game form, takes forever. So usually in a more arcadey game, I'll say, "Can I do 3 innings? I don't want to do 9." Like it's
they'll usually come up with ways to artificially shorten it because it would otherwise be so long.
Yeah. So what they do here, instead of artificially shortening it in real-time ways, I'm only playing the parts I'm involved in. So if I'm pitching, I play all the pitching in that game. But if they relieve me, like my coach has his own brain. I'm not controlling this. Yeah. He may go, you know what?
You're out, Johnson.
Yeah, you're out. You're pitching. You're starting to get worn out. You're out of here for the final 2 things. If that happens and I'm not scheduled to hit or play any other position that day, game's over. And it says, and so, okay, I might be doing both. Let's say when we're up to bat, I'll go do it. And you'll say, coming up to bat, Joe Random. And I'll get up there and take a swing, hopefully get a hit, do whatever. And there may be even challenges to that, like get a base hit. If you do that, you'll get extra XP for your hitting power or something. And they have little things like that. But that's not important to the bigger picture. Anyway, so you're up there, you hit, Joe Random does whatever he does. If I get thrown out, let's say a pop fly, guy catches it as I run, no problem, I'll walk off. Lots of great animation and commentary. But it's not like, okay, now here comes the next batter. And I either have to watch or play him. Part. Yeah, I'm just playing my part. And when I'm first baseman, that includes trying to throw people out, working with the pitcher on short pitches where, maybe the ball comes to me and the pitcher runs to take my place on first, so I toss it to him to get the out. Tagging people out, catching pop flies, like whatever job I'm doing out in the field, I do those during the plays where I'm needed. But when that's over, the next thing you move on to is the next time I would bat, even though if it was real time, there'd be 10 other guys who bat before I do. But they're just doing what I do. And it's really genius because the game feels I was sure, well, here comes another 9-inning freaking 8-hour experience. It's not. Some of them are even shorter. Like if the coach says, sorry, you're not batting anymore today, or you're not pitching anymore, I might just bat 2 more times and the game's over. And it'll give us the score. And the score is less important, and whether your team won that game is less important than your progress as this role-playing character that you've got to make him better.
Like you're trying to be like the Jordan of baseball?
Yeah. It's a career mode that is just focused on me, not necessarily
A-Rod?
The game.
A-Rod the guy?
I really like it.
It's not A-Rod.
No, it's not A-Rod.
Oh, who's the guy? Who's the guy right now?
Right now, oh geez, I'm so bad at current sports people.
Well, yeah, but who would you say historically, like?
Not historically, like now, like Babe Ruth.
Like
is
now,
a big, yeah, like I know Babe Ruth, but now, like who's the LeBron James
of now baseball player?
Now baseball, Mike Trout says the chat. I don't know who that is. Shohei Ohtani. Oh, there's the Japanese guy. Is that him? There's a Japanese guy that's just blowing.
He's on the
away.
cover of the show 22. I saw it because I'm watching gameplay video while you're talking.
Yeah.
And it's this Shohei, I think, or something. That's his name.
So that's the other thing I wanted to mention. So even though this thing is broken up like that, like they go to commercial after the end of the inning, and then they come back. There's no commercials, but they have a break like there's one, and then you come back and you play some more. The whole time, the soundscape of this game is it's really inviting. Like just the sound of the crack of the bat sounds different depending on the stadium you're in. The crowd sounds incredible. When you do something crazy like knock 2 runs in while you're up to the plate or whatever, hearing the crowd lose it is just really good. The game's very good at that.
If it's called the show 2022, though, right? So it's like of the year 20. So I think maybe those crowds maybe looks like a little bit too many people in those stadiums for baseball in 2020.
Well,
if it's going to be a depiction of baseball in 2022,
I mean, this year maybe it's more accurate now because more people are going to stuff. But last year, you're probably right. It was probably a little.
There should be a
There's way
setting
more
for,
people cheering for me in Rocksmith than there would be in real life. So like, I'm having a laugh.
There should be a setting for like pandemic crowds though, and it just replaces the crowd with stuffed animals because they did that.
Oh,
for a
they
while,
did,
I know.
yeah.
I think that would be hilarious. They should absolutely do that.
Yeah.
I mean, this game it does look kind of sweet the way you describe it. Like it takes all the boring, like because that's always a tough sell with baseball.
Mm-hmm.
Like even in like Atari day, was there a baseball for Atari? Or am I thinking Nintendo? Maybe I'm thinking Nintendo baseball. No, there was baseball for Atari, wasn't there?
There was,
really
there was
baseball.
loaded
they're
bases
playing
or
it in,
bases loaded.
Princess Bride.
No, yeah,
Or wait,
that was
I think
always
that might have been NES, but anyway.
That was always the tough thing about baseball is it's very much a downtime plotting kind of thing. So it sounds interesting.
Yeah. And
Can I ask a weird question though?
Oh, yeah, of course, always.
So I agree with you. Like even as you were talking about this, in the back of my head, I was like, man, wouldn't it be cool if when you make a player, like if you just played that player, because that's what baseball's really like. You know, if you play it, you're just a cog in the machine. Yeah. Like I don't have to do all this. I don't have to know how to pitch to be, a baseball player. I just have to know how to play second base. But so as you were saying it, I was thinking, man, that'd be so cool if you could just play as one person. Let's say you're a crazy person, though. Okay. What if I want to see the full game that I am not a part of? Is there an option that lets you do that?
Oh, 100%. 100%.
Simulator? Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
100%. There's also just like, hey, do you just want to play a 9-inning game? They also have a retro mode that makes it play like an old RBI or SNES game. That's fun. It's just a kind of quick distraction. Baseball. Yeah, because this game, one of the things that it prides itself on is like everything's mo-capped and extremely technical, and the pitching and the batting and stuff is simulation sort of. Although I think the systems are really fun, so I don't find them like
What's with this rainbow? Is it like a heat signature where the bat went? Is that
so like the green
baseball replays?
It's to teach you. It's like, okay, well, you were in the green when you hit, or if you were in the yellow, you're not going to have the control you want. Like they have stuff like that throughout the game.
Oh, I see. Foul tipped. Huh.
But there's like you kind of can choose how the game plays, and
it seems like a pretty robust like baseball simulator kind of thing.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's a reason it's number one on top. It's huge,
and the shadows and animations are really good. Like there's a bit of an uncanniness to not close up because then it's kind of smooth and not realistic. But when you're seeing it at a distance, it almost looks like an actual baseball game.
Oh yeah.
Almost.
Yeah, there's like not a lot of everybody, like all the players that are actually in the league, and even these farm league players, they're all mo-capped for their performances. So everything they're doing, it's not just baseball man. It's like, no, that's the way that guy moves and that's how he pitches.
Yeah, the movements look like, they look kind of natural and vary between players just as I'm watching them move around. Even the crowd's pretty good too. I saw like just this guy with glasses who he's way in the background, just what you're just showing. He went like this, he went
yeah. Yeah. And there's
like,
a guy.
I'm like, what? Are you just supposed to go like this and everyone animates the same way? Like the crowd's pretty like there's people standing up and leaning, and this is pretty slick.
It is. The presentation's a hell of a thing.
You got me excited about this, Scott. I'm going to play this because I do like baseball, and this sounds like exactly what I want. The only thing I would add, as I was creating my own game, and then you described the game I was creating, the only thing I wish is I think they should go super sentimental on this story mode. And I think instead of starting in like the minors, I think you should start with a game of t-ball as like a little kid. That's where it teaches you the mechanics
Yeah.
in t-ball.
Yeah.
You're just a little kid running around. Because to me, like, this is gonna get a bit sentimental, but like, there's something that I think would be really sweet about you see this little kid playing little t-ball, like running around, little legs, and then you're like, well, because I know this is a video game, I know how this goes. That little kid is going to achieve their dream. They're going to be in the MLB. They're going to the show.
Yeah, they're
Can I
going to
ask
the
a
big
question?
show.
I
Yeah.
think
sorry.
that'd be fun.
Go ahead, Bo.
Sorry, go ahead. Who makes this?
This is Sony. Sony's this used to be a
Whoa.
PlayStation exclusive, and that's the other weird thing is for the last 2 years it's been on Game Pass and
I
other
was gonna say, I thought it was
platforms.
an EA joint because I wanted to say, like, now that this is an RPG baseball game, I think the next step, assuming it was EA, which it's not,
Yeah.
would be a Mass Effect baseball game. Like, it's an RPG where you have to bring baseball to the Citadel and through space, and then you got to defeat the Reapers or some existential threat at baseball.
I would play that.
And you're like Shepard, and you have all these relationships. Like, you have fans, you have baseball teammates, you maybe get married and suffer the stress of being a famous intergalactic baseball player.
Yeah.
But it's baseball, but maybe it's a Turian sometimes on the other team, and you have an RPG and baseball. Like, doesn't that work?
Yeah, I'd play it.
Mass Effect, the show Citadel or some Mass Effect baseball. I don't know. And
I
it
was
a thing here.
super.
So I'm gonna make-
I love when I was growing up, and also later on, late 16-bit era stuff. I loved it when there were like robots involved or zombies, or I didn't care.
Yeah.
I love.
But I would
weird-
say, like, still make it straight baseball. It's like, we're bringing part of human culture to the rest of the galaxy, like Star Trek style. Like, this is straight ass baseball. But if you're a Turian, if you're Krogan, you can play.
Yeah.
And we'll play you. But it's still this game. It's still the show. You're role playing as a player trying to be the best baseball player on the Citadel.
I'm sold. I'm sold on your plan.
I
EA,
feel like
EA-
based
sequel.
on that pitch, Bo needs to play Pyre so badly.
yeah, Pyre's awesome.
Pyre?
Yeah.
Oh,
You
yeah.
should
That's
absolutely
a
play
Super
Pyre.
Giant Games
Yeah.
game. I need to play that.
Yeah,
Pyre's
that's the one
good.
where it's a sports, a generic sport, not specifically baseball, but it's a sport game with like a story RPG consequences
Yeah.
built into
All right,
it.
let me install it. Guess who owns it on Steam but never played it?
There you go.
Big
Oh,
shock.
look at that. We didn't cost Bo any money.
No, not a
That's
dime.
game. Let me just install it. The game 500 that this has happened on the show where it's like, you should play this game. I'm like, I haven't. I never played it.
Yeah, you should. It's really good. So yeah, I'm gonna give this a big recommendation. Now I realize there are people who've been playing this for years and are probably like, "Oh, this stuff's old, Scott. They've been doing this for the last 6 versions." I'm just saying. I'm. You know what? This worked, Sony, because now, you made this available somewhere that was easy to access. It's also playable on the cloud. Plays really good on the cloud. This was my meeting game this week when I had meetings. It was great.
Also, I love that you're the one person here that has a PS5 and you played it on the Xbox.
Yeah, I played it on the Xbox. I have a PS5, but it's $70 on the PS5, and on
It's
Game
true.
Pass, it's
Like,
just
why
available.
pay $70 when you can have it for free?
Oh, wait. So this is a Sony joint on the Xbox
Yeah.
Game Pass?
Yeah. Didn't you remember? You don't remember this whole thing? It was a big deal when it happened. Yeah. This is Sony
Yeah, I
going.
guess I don't remember. Yeah. I guess.
It's also
but-
on Switch now. You
Wow.
can buy this game on a Switch. It plays pretty well there too, I guess, from what I've heard. But anyway, I'm surprised how much I enjoyed it, and I am definitely going to keep playing it because the progress. Well, it's like I said, RPG-ness is going on here, and I'm always down for that. So, big shock of the week for me was how much Scott liked the show 22. Finally, I already said that other thing. Oh, Chorecore. I need a sound for this.
Chore car.
You have just a drill going. "Ring."
Here it is.
Yeah, that's me.
Everybody steals a cookie.
Everybody steals a cookie there. I can't find anything else. I got a new Chorecore game. It's called Car Detailing Simulator on Steam, and it is exactly what it is described as. They pull a car in, you do the deal, you say, "Yep, I'll take that job." They pull their little, 4-seater whatever in the garage, and you have a list of things you're meant to do: clean the tires, wax the car because it hasn't been waxed in a while, clean those windows. There's stains on the upholstery, so I want you to vacuum those and spray the car with foamy soap, and then spray it off with a pressure washer and all the stuff. And you move up to better cars, and like eventually you're going to be really big supercars and all of that. it's a great one of those. Not much else to say.
It is exactly as advertised.
Exactly as advertised. You know if you're going to want to play this, and it's a good one of those. So thumbs up for me so far. I've only played maybe an hour because I just got it. It's only like it's on sale right now. It's like 14 something bucks. And
I saw the review.
No
A lot of
brainer.
people were requesting a Dear Martha of the review you posted for the game.
oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, who knows? There's always next week. That might be.
Yeah.
okay.
Was it this review? The game is so extremely boring, monotonous, repetitive tasks that you don't even want to do again. The unlock seems so far away they don't even want to grind to get there. Tap F for flashlight. Every game ever invented does this, not this one. Game is just bad all around.
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
I disagree.
Scathing.
I disagree.
Scathing
That's
review.
somebody. You know who that is? That's somebody who doesn't play these Chorecore games because they all play.
Yeah,
like
he's not
this.
a real fan. Get
No.
out
He,
of here.
he doesn't know that. No, that wasn't the review. Here, Scott, I'll do a bonus Dear Martha real quick since it's such a short review.
All right.
I'll do a Dear Martha if you have the music.
All right,
ready.
here it is. I got it right here. Let me pull this up. Hold on. Sorry, I have it in the wrong place. Okay, whoops. There it is. Okay, here we go.
My dearest Martha, I present to you now my review for Car Detailing Simulator. Martha, please add nudity. Yours in this life and the next, Striker X88.
Nice. So it is the one that I found yesterday. Yeah, that review
That's,
just guy wants nudity. That's it.
That makes sense. I mean, a lot of garages that I've worked in as a young person all had at least a naked lady calendar.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is what you want.
Seems-
I mean,
I
it's-
never started my own garage or had a decision in life where I said, you know what, this garage is missing? Naked
Some
women.
nudity pictures.
But it seems that was a choice that other people made.
Well,
So,
and here's the thing
you
to
know.
remember: the game is first person perspective, and so you can be the naked person. Just use your imagination. You know?
Oh no, but aren't you a dude?
Yeah, you're a dude.
That's
You get
That's
your
not
wiener out.
misogynistic. That can't fly.
Well, look, not on
If
the
you're
internet
gonna-
anyway.
If you're gonna be
Not
dude
in my
garage guy,
garage.
gonna be dude garage guy. I don't know. I'm just saying that's probably what this guy's.
Sure.
That's what this guy's driving at. Not
Well,
enough nudity.
I don't know. Maybe he just wants to put naked ladies on the side of cars.
That's true.
Yeah,
You know what this
maybe.
guy, the review.
Maybe he needs a Chorecore game that's a hybrid of this and Orc Massage.
There you go. Yep.
Right.
That's what he's
Yeah,
asking.
something like that. That's what he's asking.
He
for.
wants to
Different
make it
game,
with
bud.
the lady brought the car. He did the job, but now he wants to make it with the lady who comes back to get her car, and she's so impressed
Yeah.
that's the sex part. So
No.
And then he gets to clean it again.
yeah, then
Yeah,
he
I
has to
just
clean
thought
it.
they had
again.
like decals that was like a nudie lady on the side of the car, and he's like, "It's dirty," and then I clean it. I
see,
love this video game.
we're making better video games just
It's
by
a different
talking.
game, dude. Different game. This is just cars only game.
Cars only.
Carsonly.com.
I like it.
Dating site.
only
just for cars.
cars.com.
Only cars.
Where you can see the whole car if you pay a subscription fee.
Here, I'll put it this way: if you thought that Car Mechanic Simulator was a little much, this is maybe a better option than Car Mechanic Simulator because that thing was all about nuts and bolts and parts, and this part's not the right
Bo
one
and
for
I's
this
car game is also all about nuts, but in a different way. I think Bo and I have a plan. Like that game.
Are we making onlycars.com?
Yeah, only cars. Only
So
cars.
anyone can post pictures of their cars, but if you want to see better pictures of the cars,
Yeah.
you
You
gotta
want to
sub.
see
You
it
gotta sub.
clean.
You gotta
sub.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
gotta
All
pay.
right.
Yeah,
I'm
you
gonna
want to
let
see?
Scott in on this. Why is it just you and me?
I'll do it.
Because it was your idea, and I quickly.
We need a logo. I mean, at least you can help us with
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, okay.
We're not
Scott's
going to
on
draw
board.
anything good.
We
I'll
have
do
no
all
talent.
your
Let's
your
get Scott.
logo and your web stuff. I got you covered on that.
Yeah, we need a good like text like onlycars.com.
I'm ready.
With the lightning bolt on it, maybe or something.
Yeah, but forget this podcast business. We're making a new one, everybody. Watch for it. Coming soon.
Like car porn site.
Onlycars.com. There probably is a site already. Hold on. Onlycars.com. I'll bet this is like 100% a site. And it's taking forever to open, so maybe not. Maybe I'm wrong.
Well, it's at least
I'm-
going to give you a virus. Like,
There's
Yeah.
an Instagram account.
Is it? Okay. What, you just take
Oh
pictures?
no! Actually, there's not. Only group about cars and only for car fans. No, not quite. There's a Facebook page called Only Cars in Singapore. Not worry about them.
yeah, well, they,
No,
yeah, what are
it's
they
open.
gonna
It's
do?
open space.
I mean,
Free
look
real
here.
estate.
Let's get it.
Searching registry. Oh, you know what? Onlycars.com is taken. However, and no one's using it. It's being squatted. But only .cars is available. So you can do the .cars domain. So only .cars, and it's going to cost you only $2,499.99 for that
We're
domain.
gonna be
We're gonna
so
make
rich.
that back in a day. That's a day.
Mm.
You know.
Yeah, that's yeah.
How about onlycars.fun? That's $4.
Yeah, I like that better anyway, though.
Only cars not fun.
Oilycars.com is available.
Oh, people will pay a premium for that.
I love
We'll
all
buy
these.
that too and just redirect to only cars. I like only cars better than oily cars.
There's onlyrentalcars.com is available. You don't want that.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's like somebody saw our idea and needed to get in on the money.
Yeah, that's a snuff site.
Yeah, you don't want to go there. All right, well, there's everything I played. John, I have to admit, I've been curious about the new Final Fantasy 14 patch because I hear something about PvP being insane. Will you? I don't know if you've done that, but explain why this patch is so exciting for players.
So yeah, I'm back to playing Final Fantasy 14. Good news, everyone. I'm going to talk about your favorite game.
Yeah.
I actually never quit, but it's just now I have something to talk about.
Sure.
Yeah, patch 6.1 came out. It's kind of a big deal because it's the first big patch post the end of Endwalker, and as a result, like for me, obviously the biggest thing is this is the start of a brand new story. Like this is Endwalker was exactly what it said it was going to be. It was the end of that story. It wrapped up. And so this is a preview of where we're going now, what that story is going to be. It's not to say that anybody could just jump in on this patch and go, well, yes, now I understand the story perfectly, but it does kind of cut ties from a lot of what was going on narratively previously and kind of sets a new course. And I'm really excited about the direction it's going. It's touching on some very interesting things. It's tying back to parts that felt like complete stories in their own right, but maybe there was more to tell along them. And it's really exciting. But this patch also contained a lot of stuff for people that aren't at the end game. So it's something you don't see a lot in MMOs. Usually when a new patch comes out, it's just here's all your new end game content. But this patch was the first wave of making it to where you can play the entire game single player. So they have a system in this game called Trust. It's now called, it's got a name that makes me laugh because it's very immature. It's like Duty Helper or something like that. I can't help but laugh at it.
Yeah.
But
is that your mount? A turtle? Jeez.
Oh yeah, watch. It's gonna fly in a minute. It's really amazing. But this system basically puts you in a dungeon when you have a dungeon that queues up with NPC companions. And
What
they're
in the
smart.
Lord? What on the Lord on high is this turtle doing?
Sorry, you can't show this clip while you're talking, and have
This
us
is
not be immediately distracted.
crazy. I don't
Yeah,
For
even
the
know what
audio
to
listeners,
say.
the turtle walks like normal, and when it flies, it sucks its legs and head into its shell, and he's spinning around 360 with rocket boosters coming out from all angles.
Yeah.
And like, how is your guy not dead from G-forces spinning you around? And like, it's absolutely like immersion breaking, but comical and anime, so it's fine. But you know, also
That's incredible. I love
That's
it.
just how turtles fly.
Yeah.
I don't
yeah,
know if you
evidently,
guys
I didn't
like
know.
that.
Now I know. Like, I'm educated today on
That's
this.
that's how they do. But yeah, so basically any dungeons in the game you can now run single player. So for anybody that, you know, came over and got to a point where you're like, oh, wait a minute, to play the main story of this game, I have to do dungeons with other people. I don't want to do that. Like, there is now a way to solo it.
But
and
you say
experience it
away,
on
you
your own.
mean like if I'm in there and I'm solo queued or whatever, or I'm just in the game, can I choose? That's how I choose right then to say, do you want to do this on your own?
Yeah.
But
Dude.
it's like you get AI teammates, right?
You get AI teammates, but the reason this is rolling out slowly is because it's not just a bunch of doofuses in there that help you fight. Like, it's not what you would expect. You can actually learn mechanics watching the AI teammates. They will do the fight properly. They'll move out of mechanics. They'll stack when they need to stack. They'll avoid things. They'll hold aggro. They'll do just about anything you would expect them to do, and that's kind of why it takes a while to roll out, because they program for all of this. It's actually how I learn fights in the current, because they added this in Shadowbringers and now they're retroactively adding it to the early parts of the game. But I actually will go through with the AI and go, okay, now what are they doing for this mechanic? Because I didn't understand this mechanic. I can watch what they do and go, okay, so I need to move over here when that does that. Okay, that makes sense. So it's a good way to learn the game, especially if you're doing a role that you don't normally do. So
Do they know the best way to do boss fights? Like, is that were they possibly waiting to see what the community does with it? Because, like, obviously, they roll out a boss fight, they're anticipating what the strategy is, and then someone comes along and beats your game in 6 minutes or whatever.
yeah, they're not optimized for sure. Running with AI is definitely slower than running with normal people, but you will see them at least perform mechanically sound tactics.
Okay.
There's
So
maybe
that gives you an idea to be like, oh, that's bad, that's less
Yeah.
bad, or pop a cooldown or whatever. Yeah.
There's actually a really fun thing that they revealed. So I don't want to give spoilers away because it is a big one, but there's a fight in Endwalker that you can do with a large party of AI controlled NPCs if you want. And they said it's such a big bombastic fight that even the NPCs do get hit by abilities, but they basically said there's one character that will successfully avoid every single ability. So if you follow that one character, she will never get hit by anything. And I found that very interesting that they as developers know, like, okay, well, if you stick with your allies, you're going to have some problems, but yeah, we got one that's perfect. She'll do a flawless run every single time. It's great. But it's just really cool to see that old content get so much love, and they've changed some things. So Final Fantasy had a kind of notorious end dungeon that took over an hour to run your first time called Praetorium. They have chopped that up. It's now, instead of a big raid, it's now a dungeon. It's now a 3-part thing instead of a 1-part thing. So they've put a lot of time and effort in kind of updating these older dungeons to teach you mechanics better, to give you the option to solo them if you with AI companions if you want. And it's just a lot of love and focus that you don't normally see in an MMO that they give that old.
Well, not even
content.
just for old stuff. What this tells me as a player who I'm to be honest, what I find what blocks me from playing this game on the regular is just knowing how much shit there is between me and where you are.
Yeah.
And so what they're doing is not only giving love to that old content, they're giving love to me as a player who's looking for a way in that isn't arduous. I don't mean skipping it all, but I mean like make it so I can experience the content you intend me to experience, but don't put other hurdles in my way because I don't have time.
Right.
I
if you're up at 3 a.m. because for some reason that's the only time you can play, you're not going, ugh, it's a 45-minute queue to get into this dungeon, and then I'm going to be in, and I got to be social, and I don't have enough time for it. Like, now you can actually go, okay, well, I have a dungeon, and you know what? If I have to dip out in the middle of the dungeon because I'm busy, doesn't bother the AI. Like, that's fine. And that's been the biggest thing that I've had to use it for. I was playing this game heavily when my son was born. There would be times where I'd be like, oh, I don't know if I can get a dungeon done in time. And as soon as I got to the part where I could run with AIs, it was like, okay, well, I'll try it. And if I can't, if he wakes up and needs something, just shut it down. I'll try the dungeon again later. No big deal. And so this adds some really nice quality features for you to give a go with. And you mentioned PvP. I haven't talked about it because I haven't done it. The PvP in Final Fantasy XIV is not considered great by any means. It's never really been a focus, but they are kind of trying to shift to where they're experimenting to see if people will get into it. I watched our buddy Kyle and Garrett. They tried it. They had a lot of trouble getting over the hurdles, but they were also trying to learn it on stream, which we all know is sometimes a very tricky prospect.
Oh, yeah.
I've heard people are having a lot of fun in it. So I am going to try it and check it out and see how it is, but I just haven't done it yet. I've been too busy doing other things. Like, I've never had a patch for an MMO where I've gone in and gone, oh my gosh, so much I want to do.
Yeah.
Like that, I think that was the crazy thing for me. It's not that this patch is bigger than other MMOs patches. It's just that I care about a larger percentage of what got patched than I normally do.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, I have to admit, this is interesting to me. I don't know why. I'm suddenly very interested.
And they're going to be doing this over time. So right now, A Realm Reborn is completely soloable. But they are going to, I think in the next patch, I think they're working on Heaven's Ward, which currently you would have to find groups for all the Heaven's Ward content. Same with Stormblood. So it's not immediately done because they said, it's going to take a lot of work to get through. But right now, at least one game's done, and then they're going to hit the expansions and follow up patches.
Very cool. All right. Look at Final Fantasy. Oh, how are the dragons? Any dragons?
Oh, dragons are awesome. Actually, yeah, dragon features quite heavily.
Really?
Dragon.
All right, there's some dragon beef for you. We don't have a new ESO thing out.
Do they feel as good in a post Elden Ring world? Because the Elden Ring dragons are pretty good.
Well, you typically don't fight them very often in Final Fantasy. Not really you fight them dragons. They're more you talking to them dragons.
So you summon them, right? It's just summoning dragons?
You just chat with them. They just got a lot. They got a lot to say.
Yeah. Well,
all right.
Nothing wrong with that. What else did you play this week?
Scott, I played Vampire Survivors.
That game's great.
Let's talk about this game.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've ever spent $3 and been happier in my life than buying Vampire Survivors. Holy crap. I think you talked about this game because I know somebody I knew did. I
definitely did. A long time ago, but yeah.
Months ago or something like that.
Yeah, I think I mentioned at the time the big deal was, it's only like $2 and super retro, but it's this awesome dual sticky kind of thing, but not in the way you think of normally. And anyway, I'm so glad you discovered it. It's amazing, that game.
I looked at it when you talked about it, and I saw them say bullet hell, and it looked like a bullet hell kind of game. And I went, it's not for me. I don't really like bullet hell games. I'm not going to enjoy this.
Yeah.
And then I was looking at our friend Ben, I bought him a gift over Steam for his birthday.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, if I spend money on somebody else, surely I must spend some money on myself. So I was like, just looking, seeing what else was on Steam. I was like, I'm in a spending kind of mood.
Yeah.
And I picked up 2 games, and I was like, Return of the Obra Dinn is on sale. And I've been dying to play that. And I was like, let me get that. And then I was like, Vampire Survivor. I've been hearing a lot of people talk about this too. Should I get that? You know what? It's $3. I'll find out. I'll find out if I like it for $3. It's the first game I played. I wish I could tell you about Return of the Obra Dinn. I didn't play it because all I've been playing is stupid Vampire Survivors. This game is so good.
Yeah.
It's simple. Like it's not
are you sure
anything more than
I'm
what
watching some gameplay, and like when you attack, your guy doesn't really animate.
Oh no, he doesn't. But read those reviews. You
don't even hit a button for it, Bo. Like that's the other thing. This game uses 2 buttons. You use a joystick, and occasionally you press A to confirm. Like it is purely like I don't know how to describe it. On paper, this game is not a game I would enjoy. In execution, like the way the upgrades work, the way you build characters, the way you kind of go, like it's just so fun. And I thought I was going to hate it. Even the first couple seconds into it, because you start with the whip guy, and the whip weapon at the start is god awful.
It's pretty garbage at first.
It's not good. It didn't set anything on fire when I was just going. I was like, wait a minute. I don't even hit a button to make this whip go out. It's just I have to wait for it and be aimed in the right direction and then somehow get over to the crystals that the enemies drop. This is going to be bad. And then I started buying upgrades, and those upgrades changed the way I played. And then I got treasure chests, and it has a really wonderful treasure chest animation and bit of music that goes with it. And before I knew it, I was like, I'm going to get every achievement in this game. I'm going to unlock everything. All the characters are really cool. They've got interesting powers and interesting ways of changing it. There's cool hidden secrets. There's ultimate upgrades for things, which is really smart, where it's like, okay, well, I ranked this up to 8 and I got this other ability, and they combine to augment into something like way cooler.
Damage
Sounds like
numbers.
a bit of a puzzle game, I guess.
A little bit.
There's elements of it. And the first time, so basically the goal is to survive 30 minutes on the stage. And the first time I got close, I already felt like I was a god. I was like, I've made my character invincible. Nobody can touch me. Nobody can get close to me. and I lost at 29 minutes and 35 seconds.
Oh.
And I was like,
Wow.
this game ramps up. When this game is like, we're going to put on the pressure, it puts on the pressure. Like, it gets very tense. It gets very claustrophobic as you get surrounded by enemies. And you're like, well, I know I'm strong, but am I strong enough? Like, it's just so good. And I couldn't stop playing it. It doesn't ask much from you. It's very casual play. You
I
can
mean, it's like borderline an Atari game, right?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I would
Yeah.
argue
the graphics
that
are better than Atari, but it has the control sophistication of an Atari game.
it feels like
Yeah.
the era they are aiming here for feels like, PC Engine / Turbo
Yeah.
Graphics something. Like it's real basic in that regard, and I had the same concerns. Also, it's a single developer project. It's the first game he's ever done. But then I saw these reviews. There's like 80 something, almost 90,000 reviews, all overwhelmingly positive. Like this is one of the most best reviewed games in Steam in the last year, easily.
I mean, even if it's just those 90,000 positive reviews, 90,000 positive, if that's like the sales
Yeah.
for
Oh,
$3, and
yeah.
this one guy, like he's
doing just
made a
fine.
little nest egg there. That's great.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
doing great. It's a
And
very,
They got to
very
put
cool
this on
game.
Switch. This is a Switch game.
Yeah, for sure.
Should be.
It's still
phones.
early access, so I got the benefit of unlocking a ton of stuff, and then 2 days later going, "There's more stuff in the game now."
Yeah.
And they added a whole new character, new weapons. Like it really gets a lot of love, it seems, and a lot of updates. And those updates do a good job of changing what is, in essence, a very simple gameplay loop, but in execution, like very deep and very cool. Like
Are
it
there
reminds me a lot of Rogue Legacy in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
besides different heroes, are there different like level challenges, or is it always like the same? Just press play to start, and then maybe it's
Kind of starts the same every time.
it's roguelike, but like it's just one game mode. I mean, like,
Yeah, that's kind of it.
They have a couple different things. So there are 4 different stages currently in the game, and they all have their own weird quirks. So like the first level is the most like generic open. You're just in a field. It's kind of what Scott's showing right now. Second level is a more horizontal level, so
Yeah.
they limit your vertical movement. You can't go up and down as much, but you can go left and right forever. So it kind of adjusts like what's good and effective as a weapon, because you now have more limited movement.
is that at the 30-minute mark that level changes, or
No, they're just it's 30 minutes each stage.
okay?
So but I think you unlock the next level without having to go the full 30. I think there's just some point where
It's
it
like a
unlocks.
progression. Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
that makes sense. Okay.
And so each level changes it up, and then there's 2 additional modes. One that puts you back in the field, but then it randomizes what enemies appear, so you don't know what you're going to get, and you might all of a sudden get something insanely hard, or you might get something that's a little easier. And then they have one where you're surrounded by plants
Oh yeah.
that don't move.
Here it is right here.
But you still have
Oh,
to
there
cut
you
your
go.
way through. And I don't really like that game mode, but you only have to survive for 15 minutes in it for it to end, and it was fine.
Yeah.
This is the kind of it's hard to look at a game like this and not get a little jealous, because I'm like, I could have made this a game maker. Like,
yeah.
like, you know what I mean? Like, just being honest, like, I'm like, good for the guy, and I'm like, I'm sure like it's good. I actually should try it, but I'm just like, this is, Unreal Engine 5 comes out, and you're like, man, I wish I could make something on Unreal Engine 5, and you start thinking about what it would take, and you're like, well, I have to learn how to do Blender, and I have to learn textures, and I need to do music, and the standards are so high, like, and then the next thing you know, I'm trying to get an angel investor to give me $10 million for my little fan project or something.
Sure.
And you're like, no, you can make a successful video game that is excellent. You can make this in a week, I bet. Like, it probably took him longer, but like if you use Unity or Game Maker or something like that, like you can knock this out. This is not complicated.
You're not wrong. I mean, basically, what this does come down to is just raw understanding of gameplay and what makes
it's fun.
The systems are really good. Yeah, yeah. You did a really good job.
Like, it's not that complicated to program AI. They basically walk towards you. It looks like at different speeds.
Mm-hmm.
There's some group behavior, which is pretty cool, but nothing. At least as far as like I would obviously need to do a bit of refreshing on my stuff, but this would not be beyond me to do. Everything I see here, I'm like, this is all doable.
Mm-hmm.
Good for this guy.
Yeah.
I guess what I'm saying, rather than say I'm jealous, I say I'm inspired by it, because then I'm like, well, shit, this guy can make a sweet little
Yeah, I
$3
mean,
game.
I think the thing, like, on the surface, it looks very simple, but I think the thing that sets this apart is that, like Scott said, is very intelligently designed.
Yeah.
Like, one thing that feels too off, or something that doesn't control quite right, or an upgrade that takes too long, or stuff like that. And this game would go, it would shift, and it would be the thing that you look at it and go, I think this game is that. Like, it hits its sweet spot very well, even to the point where not all the weapons feel balanced, and yet that feels okay. Like, there's some weapons like the cross. I can't stand the cross. Like, the boomerang cross is awful. Like, I hate it. I hate the normal one. I hate it upgraded. I hate what it evolves into for its ultimate version. It's such a waste of time weapon, but I think it's fine that it's in there. And I'm sure there are some people that, like, swear by it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they've done a smart thing, and now they've added a whole new system. I don't know if you've even seen this yet, Scott.
No.
Because now they've added this whole thing called, like, Arcana, which are weird little, like, tarot card buffs that take things like, so garlic is in the game. And early on, I loved garlic because it meant that if things tried to hit me, I would kill them automatically, because you put out a big aura of garlic.
Yeah.
As I played more, I went, oh, garlic's not very good. Like, eventually the cool effect of garlic wears off, and you're not just walking through all the enemies like you are at the beginning.
Yeah.
And as a result, because you have limited amounts of weapon slots and upgrade slots, like, it becomes a waste to pick. But now they've added these Arcana decks, and what that does is now it applies a buff where anytime you get healed, enemies around you take damage equal to what you got healed. Well, the max level garlic thing doesn't affect where it heals you.
Yeah.
So if you have that card active and you go with the Path of Garlic and you get it maxed out, now all of a sudden it goes from kind of useless and bad to kind of okay again. And, like, it's got these layers of depth that are hidden there if you want to engage with them. And I think that stuff is very smart and very cool. Although they did add a new cat weapon to the game, I don't know what the hell the cat does. Half the time it doesn't do anything. Sometimes it seems like it hurts me. Sometimes the cat's fighting a big fight, and I can't tell if I get hurt by being in it. I have no idea what the cat does.
So just like real cats then. It's like cats.
Yeah, just like a cat. I don't understand it.
Yeah. That makes sense.
It's just cool. It's just an awesome game, and it's $3. Like, usually I don't do the whole for the price, like I always say, $3 is a lot of money to some people and it's nothing to others. But I think if video gaming is your hobby, if you're enough to listen to a podcast, I think it's safe to say $3 ain't bad, and it's probably worth checking out. It's because it's not even $3. Everybody's correcting me in the chat. It's like, $2.
I just paid $2.69 Canadian. For it,
$2.69.
There you go.
Yeah, it's on sale at the
No,
moment.
I bought it. Yeah, I just bought it. I'll give it a try. And I know that, like, for weeks now, someone has been either messaging me on Twitter or in Twitch chat. Have you played Vampire Survivors? Have you played Vampire
Oh,
Survivors?
I get it all the time. Yeah, and I'm like, yes, I have. It's great. So
All right,
now
I'll
you
try
can
it.
say
It
the
doesn't
same.
look. I'm not saying it looks bad, and I feel like there's some comments in the chat are like, takes a week to make it, takes so much longer. I'm just saying, proof of concept game jams are like a week long or something like that. Like, it's not hard to program an avatar as a baseline thing to move it in the middle, controller directions, have it shoot automatically. Of course, like all the things that John was talking about in terms of adding the finer points, I guess the polish probably took time and contracting music and stuff, but the baseline engine, that's basic stuff.
Yeah.
That's you could do that in a day.
Yeah, I feel like
doing.
what we're looking at here is somebody with a brilliant mind for gameplay that is just going pretty rudimentary on that stuff. And I don't know, I feel like if it was fancier looking, not that it wouldn't do as well, but I think people like this garage band look.
I think it's the story. There's a market. There are bands that are like, if they don't have a record deal and no one's heard of them, the whole hipster band thing.
Yeah, it's a little like that.
Band story, it can be as important. It's cultural significance as important, or arguably more important than their music. It's a thing in gaming too. You hear that it's one developer, a couple developer, a few people developer, and then you see what they output. You're immediately like, your expectations on, if this game was published by Ubisoft,
Yeah. Might be the best thing they put out this year, sadly, because Ubisoft's having a rough time. But
right, but the conversation, it might still be heralded as a good game. We all like to think that no, we're impartial bestowers of praise, but I don't have that much faith in that. You know, I don't know.
Well, here's the way to look at it. The nice thing about this versus music is if you have a second album that goes crazy and makes tons and tons of money, then you're looked at as selling out. When game developers, if it starts out as like a dude making a game, and then his next game is like a bigger effort, like Papers, Please, one guy, Obra Dinn, right? But he has some people now and some help and some backup. Nobody ever goes, sold out, made a new game, sold. No, they go, sweet, look at him coming up, man, awesome. So I think game developers have an advantage in that regard. So
I'll tell you a good example of that would be like Notch's sale of Minecraft to Microsoft.
Yeah.
It's still a popular game, but like there was definitely sentiment along the lines of no.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
To Microsoft's credit, they have done a good job of not messing with what makes the formula work.
I mean, I guess so. It's hard. I think a lot of people have opinions about things they don't play or do. Yeah. So Minecraft was never my game. And so I'm going to refrain here from having a comment on whether they ruined it or not, but it seems popular and healthy and in all the right ways. And you know, but I'm saying the sentiment is no. Same thing with D&D Beyond's going to be bought by Hasbro. No, you know what I mean? So I just think it helps something become a phenomenon in the gamer space when it's like, it's fun. And did you know it's one person that bought it? Then people are like, oh shit, bam, here's my $3.
G.I. Joe.
You know, but if you're like, do you know Ubisoft? Well, in between their harassment issues at work made Vampire Survivors, you'd be like, I don't know. Maybe it's fun, but I'll skip. Whatever.
Yeah. I'm just looking forward to the G.I. Joe modules coming to D&D. You heard it here first, everybody. John, finally, Chrono Cross remaster. You've been playing and streaming. What do you think?
I'm feeling a little bummed about that game, honestly. It's one of my favorite games of all time, and I think, you know, when it comes to the term remaster, you know, you can expect that to vary widely. You know, sometimes it's a lot, sometimes it's we up-resed it and that's all you got. I think the only thing a remaster can't do is not serve as at least a port of the game that it is. If it can't function better or at least on par with what you're now bringing up, that's a problem. And unfortunately with Chrono Cross, I might be putting the streams of it on hiatus for a little while. I still haven't decided, but the game is unfortunately very crippled by an atrocious frame rate. And it's really inexcusable because it didn't exist in the PlayStation version. They certainly have, there's already modders who have released tools that fix it, but I'm kind of the mind that I shouldn't have to go get a third-party mod to get a game to run the way it's supposed to.
I agree.
And I kind of don't want to promote a game on a stream that I had to go get a third-party mod to get the game to actually function okay.
Damn, strike two, Square Enix.
Yeah, I've looked at the gameplay as presented over the stream, and it's one of those rare cases because usually when you stream a game, it's people going, the game looks hitchy, and then you go, well, it's fine on my end, but something's happening in the in-between that's making it hitch. This is kind of the opposite effect. My gameplay on the stream looks okay, but the way it's playing on my computer is atrocious and almost unplayable. So it's something that obviously if modders have already found a way to mostly fix it, it's something that could be fixed in a patch. I'll certainly revisit it. I don't care what you add to the gameplay experience. Like, I don't care if it's a lot or not. You know, if it's a game I want to play again, that I'm fine to just have it. But you have to at least meet the quality of what existed before. And unfortunately, this game is coming up short of it.
That's a bummer to hear. But they, like you said, they've got a chance to fix this. They could probably do that. Hopefully they will, because they've gotten praise for their, like, the Pixel remaster stuff went real well, right? So why not carry that through and make it work here? I don't get it.
Yeah, it seems like a bit of a gaffe.
Yeah.
And so like they can push the delay date on that, and you know it's not going to make waves.
No,
it's a remaster. Like,
yeah, it's a
people can
remaster.
Wait to play that.
People can deal with a delay of a remaster. Not a huge deal.
They'll be fine. So Yeah, it's unfortunate. It kind of bums me out. But it's where we're at with that.
I mean, you sort of
Hopefully
assume they
fix
test
it.
and play their games before they release them, right?
You'd think.
That's why it's always
Yeah.
you're not on old hardware.
I
like
think
that old.
sometimes people go with the it's good enough, and then they go, are people gonna throw a fit about this? It's certainly what they did with Chrono Trigger when Chrono Trigger came out on Steam. It immediately started trending because I don't think they anticipated it being as big a deal as it was, but people got it, found out it was just a shitty mobile port, and people lost their mind over it. They're like, this is one of the greatest RPGs your company has ever made, and it deserves far better than what you're doing. And they offered a public apology for that, and they patched it a bunch, and now it's I don't
It
think
should
it's
matter to
perfect,
them.
but
Their
it's okay.
Their reputations have to matter to them. Like, I honestly don't. I feel like I don't know why. Because like if they're trading on their good name,
Was
Yeah.
Chrono
It's-
Trigger a big deal in Japan or only here?
That I don't know. I would be curious because it definitely feels like it gets treated differently than Final Fantasy, despite the fact that it is highly celebrated here. So
Yeah.
I don't know if it's set.
Well, that's the
Japan
reason I
on
ask
fire as
is
it did
maybe they're
in
just
America.
like, oh, we don't really want to do this, but the Western audience loves it, and we need a little revenue there, so let's do it. And they just kind of half-ass it because of that. I wonder. I don't know. Could be it. Could be a thing. A regional thing, or not regional, a localization issue. Only America liked your Chrono Cross and your Chrono Trigger. Who knows?
I mean, Chrono Cross was heavily divisive here. A lot of people don't like it as a sequel, but it is a good game. It deserves to at least be put out in a playable format. So
I agree.
we'll see.
Yeah,
I will update you if it gets better because I want to play it. I've enjoyed my time in it. It's a little more emo than I remember it being, but I certainly was at that age when I played it. So it's fine. I
emo
will be
just
back
means
to it.
emotional, and we all have them.
Oh
It's
yeah,
okay.
but it absolutely is emotional. It's like you talk to one person, you go into a stranger's house, and you're like, "Hey, my man, what's up? You look like a good dude." And he's like, "You ever think about if you had made one choice different, that your entire life would be just completely like one little choice? If I hadn't become a fisherman, who knows what I might have done with my life? I might not live in this house. I might not have married my wife." And you're just like, "I
You're just
came
like-
in to say hello."
That's kind of cool. All right, so there you have it. Your Chrono Cross update until they do better. Bo finished Elden Ring. Everybody, I don't know if you
It's
heard.
over, everyone.
Yep.
It's finally over.
You're done. Did you wait?
220 some hours in. I
Yeah.
think 226 hours total for my
Wow.
first playthrough.
Wow.
I got almost all the achievements. The only achievements I didn't get are the different endings that you can get from the game. And the game was mostly easy. Took a long time, but you're showing footage of this now on the stream. Melania took me about 69 tries, and that's a 7-hour. That's the end. It's the culmination of a 7-hour stream on Monday of me trying to beat this boss. And for people's benefit, I'm a strength build, and I just kind of played the game like a roguelike, so I refuse to use larval tiers, which is respecking. I just play it as I am, and Melania heals on hit, even if she hits her shield. So she has depending if you're a melee guy without any range, she's wailing on you and your summon. She has 10 times as long of a health bar because of all the self healing. But so she was a real challenge. I cannot deny chat rooms like easy game, huh? It's try 65, and I'm going all right, piss off, you guys. I'm going to get this.
I've been fighting her for 6 hours.
It really was I worked a full shift at work that day, and I came home and worked a full shift just trying to beat this one boss. She was hard. But Melania aside, I really enjoyed the challenge of trying to figure it out and eventually figuring it out. And I think the worst part about that stream was John did pop in. He said, "Oh, I beat this boss in 2 tries." And I was like,
it is true. But exactly what I said was going to happen happened. So Bo said, "John, how long did it take you to beat her? Was she a hard boss for you?" And I said, "Oh, I got her in my second try." And he was like, "I just spent 6 hours on it. Second try. What are you talking about?" And I said, "Don't worry. You will make it up to me because I am sure you are going to mop the floor with the final boss, which took me days of trying to get past."
So
And
the
that's
final
exactly
boss,
what happened.
Last night I beat him in 2 tries. In fact, there's 3 boss fights in the end of the game, and they all took me 2 tries. Actually, the first one took me first try. Oh no, there's not 3 bosses. There's 2 bosses. First one took me 1 try. Second, the last boss, which has 2 phases, took me 2 try. Got it on the second try.
Nicely done.
So Melania was I think it's just because her design was very much like the self heal on melee, and I made my build heavily relies on shield. Like I don't dodge as much as you see all these people, and they're like, I'm going to cast 1 magic spell and do all the damage.
Mm-hmm.
So they're not wearing good armor, so they have to dodge. They don't block. They barely block, or they do parries and fancy shit. I'm just like, my shield, you cannot get past it. Like, I have tons of poise, and when those giant monsters hit me, I just do a backflip and land on my feet, and I'm good. So this psycho comes along and is like going to self heal on all my blocking, and I'm like, how do I kill it? How do I kill it?
Yeah.
So she just really countered my build essentially. But yeah, that was fun, and it was fun to finish the game. And now that I'm on the back end of the whole Elden Ring thing, having played my first playthrough, I can safely say this game is very special overall.
Yeah.
But early on in the lifespan of this game, there's a few developers out here where like, I'm learning that UI doesn't matter. You can get a 10 with shit UI and shit quest things, and then they were mocked for being like, "See, developers are so out of touch." Now that I've played the whole thing through, I want to say they're kind of right, honestly, to be a little upset about it. I think the quest design in this game is pretty terrible, if I'm going to be honest with you. The quests and characters themselves are great. Like, I like the characterization. John brought up last week, having to find Bach is good. You can miss that stuff I don't mind. But, like, as an example, last night, to wrap up 2 quests, I had to find this guy, Gold Mask, who was dying, and talk to him, and then he gives me an item. Now, he's going to drop some other items, but I got to reload the area to get them. And then when I reload the area, I find the NPC that's with him somewhere else, Brother Cormier, who I'm like, where is he? Oh, I had to reload the area after talking to that guy to see this guy. So I reload the area, talk to the guy, Brother Cormier. Then I go to Gold Mask, loot the items, and then I got to reload again the area because Brother Cormier leaves. So this whole process of wrapping up a quest line involves 3 reloading the area things, which is not a natural thing for anyone to do when they're playing a game, right? Like, guy, I can see if he's like, play me a song, so I have to figure out the song to play, like a actual quest step. But there's a lot of this like reload the area thing that I just hate, and I feel like any defense of that, saying like, oh, this is, you just used to some standard, you're not used to games being hard or different. I don't feel I don't think I want games to be like I don't want people to take away the message like when I go to turn in my 10 belt what's that? Boar pelts.
Yeah.
Boar pelts. I don't want WoW to be like, okay, well, reload the air, like log out of the game and log back into the game, and you'll get your thing, or something ridiculous like that. Like, that's silly. So I can understand like when people are really evangelizing the truly, honestly great stuff about this game. You kind of lose the point a bit, and I would go as far as to say that's like it's a pretty big blemish on the game and is worthy of criticism, and maybe not even a 10, more like a 9, because the questing's not only is the questing outright bad in that way, but it's bugged in some cases too. It just got owned by bug. I think there was something else. I can't remember what happened.
Because what you described about reloading, that's a workaround. You know what I mean? Like, that doesn't feel right at all. I don't know who would defend
it's their
that.
janky tech that makes it that where they could hire an engineer to solve that problem to make the experience better. They don't, and then their fan base, who they're probably aware of their sentiment, likes the hard games, so they're just like, we don't have to fix it. They'll think it's hard. We'll save ourselves a labor budget on fixing that problem.
Yeah.
Like I don't agree with it at all.
Yeah. But
minor blemishes. Overall, the game is fantastic. I really enjoyed the challenge. I think the other place I think people are a little on the deep end, but not because they're overhyping this game, but this is a unique challenge of a game. I think looking at a game like this and expecting every game to be like this game has a novelty factor. It's the biggest sales of a game like this. But to anyone who's played all the Souls games, this game is probably pretty easy. That's why I think a lot of, because I had a learning curve and I got better as
Yeah.
time went on.
I had a much easier time with this than any of the other games
Yeah.
I've played of theirs.
I think if every game's like this, or like, oh, you should take the cue, and then lots of games are like this, then everyone's just good at these games and they're not hard anymore. I don't think there's enough here to say like it's just challenging. It's innovative and there's a novelty factor, and it is, mechanically very interesting. But I think it's a very simple argument. It's a little too simple argument that's not accounting for how much novelty plays into our desire to play games or enthusiasm for games. That's why, even though if you love an MMO, it's your ninth year playing it, it's just hard to be excited like it's your first year playing it. It's normal. It's normal human
Yeah,
feeling.
that's
We need
that's
novelty.
normal.
I
Sure.
think there's a lot of issues I have with the areas of discussion that fans of this game, people in general seem to pull it down to. Like, so much gets talked about the difficulty, and to me, when I think about why I like this game, it has nothing to do with the difficulty. Like not even a part of it. What I love about this game is that I spent what I thought was a tremendous amount of time in this game. I thought I had seen the world, and ultimately I left the game fulfilled. I felt like I had had a good experience. I didn't leave the game going, "Oh, I have so many regrets about how I played and beat this game." I felt good about it.
Mhm.
And then I would watch Bo stream it, and all of a sudden he's fighting a giant turtle that I've never seen. And I'm like, "What the hell is that?" Like, what where did that come from? Is because he explored a different path. He went a different way. He did something I didn't
I did
do.
all the ways.
And that's the thing to me, is that this game contains that much that I don't feel like there's a piece missing. There's so much I missed in this game. Like, if I were to look up all the items I didn't get, all the places I didn't explore, it's probably a very substantial list, but I don't feel like I did. And I think forget about talking about difficulty and stuff like that. I feel like that's the success of this game, is that I put my time into this game, felt like I got a complete experience and story. And if I go back at some point and play this game again, I have a feeling that it's going to feel very different. Not just because I'll play it differently, but because I'll still find ways to surprise myself with things that I didn't see. That won't be everybody. I don't know if Bo's going to be capable of having that same experience, but he played the game his way. And I think, like, the fact that we can have two very different playthroughs. Scott, you would probably play it very differently as well if you played through it.
Mhm.
Like, I think that is a strength to the game, and I don't think any of us are going to feel like they had a subpar experience, except maybe Bo, for the sheer amount of time he put into it.
I looked at everything. This is not a problem with Elden Ring. That's a problem with open world games in general.
Yeah.
I have a hard time not looking under every stone.
Yeah.
And these open world games, I think I just got to I think it's more that I put myself in a position to not fall victim to them, because as you can see, I've been playing Elden Ring for like 2 months now, and it's just,
Yeah.
the last thing I want to do is play an open world game right now.
Would you guys,
yeah.
given the fact that this is some of the concepts and some of the writing is from George R. R. Martin, if he made like side novels about this world, would you read those?
I mean,
No,
it's like,
probably not.
yeah, not at all. Like,
No.
The atmosphere and lore is cool, but like, it's pretty dumb. Like, I think I like, this is my reaction to the game ending. I picked this ending where you get a space wife. She's a witch. Your wife has 4 arms and she's kind of undead and is a wizard, and you decide to give her instead of me being the Elden Lord, I become her husband, but she's, I guess, the leader, and then we're gonna go travel the stars for 1,000 years.
Wow.
And so she's like, and now we will travel throughout the stars and journey forward. And on the stream, I just remembered, because I made myself laugh. I just went, cool. I just went like, cool, whatever. Anyways, and it's like game over, and I'm like, yeah, like I'm not invested like I'm invested in Mass Effect, Disco Elysium, other game. Like, this game doesn't pull you in that way, but it really sells you on the atmosphere. Like, I think the monsters and gods look cool, and there is it's a cool sort of feeling to the weird mystery of it. But I'm not like I'm not like,
Yeah.
I wonder what's gonna happen with the Elden Lord. I'm like, burn it all down. Like, I don't care. Like, let me just fight the monsters and go home. Like,
for the record,
yeah.
this world sucks. Like, there's nothing I want to read about. I didn't go through and go like, man, what a lovely bunch of characters I met along the way that I want to learn more about. Everybody in this game is at least, at minimum, 30% an asshole. And that's assuming they don't die anyway, which is like most of them. Like almost
every
everybody
quest,
dies.
every quest line, if you finish it, pretty much the NPC dies.
So,
I am trying to think who doesn't die at the end of a quest line. Can you think of any? No, in this game.
No, I know.
don't know
I'm trying to think of
made it that
anybody.
far.
I'm trying to think if anyone's talked about any of those. I don't think so.
So, like, I think everyone has died because I get their gear and I find their corpse and get their gear.
Yeah.
I guess Jarbiern doesn't die. So Jarbiern is the little jar.
Did
Jarsburg.
Alexander the warrior jar die?
You fight him to the death in Azula, and I killed him. And then you get his innards, and you actually give that to his nephew Jarbiern, and then he's going to use the innards to become a big warrior jar. And then you get a.
Wait, now you've convinced me never to read a book ever based on this, just by talking about these jars.
Oh, the warrior jars are a whole race of people, and Alexander aspires to be the greatest warrior jar in all of the lands between.
Wow.
And then as a final battle, he faces you, and I kick his ass, and he's like, "I'm glad it was you." And then I get his innards, and I go back to Jarbiern, who's a little nephew. He goes, "Hello, cuz. You see my uncle Alexander? I want to be a great warrior potentate like him." And you're like, "Here's his innards. I killed him." And he's like, "Oh, sweet, but I'm sad about my uncle." And that's that. I think that's the end of the quest. Oh, some other human who's like, decides to become a coward, comes to Jarsburg to protect the jars, but then the jars get attacked by poachers, and he dies. And as he's dying, he's like, "Did I protect the jars?" You know, and you're supposed to say, I think, like, "You did well," but I look around and all the jars are dead. I'm like, "No, you failed." And he's like, "Oh no!" And then he dies, and then I loot his gear.
Yeah,
but I have to reload the area.
Story.
I reload the area, then I loot his gear. And I think
That's
Jarbiern
effed.
actually lives. So
That's effed.
He'll be in the sequel, I guess, or
Just
DLC.
reload the
That'll be the
area to
focus
loot
of
the
the book.
gear. I don't like any of that. That sucks. I don't like the sound of it. When you have to reload anything to get the gear, that's dumb.
Yep, like I said
didn't
last
have
week.
to reload anything. Like, that's why I don't comment
You've
on it.
missed stuff,
It never happened to me.
You then I guarantee you missed stuff. If you didn't, it's like even the Nefeli Lu Kenneth Haight quest. You have to fast travel to Godric's boss area, rest and reload the area, then they show up. I went there like 5 times because I read on a Reddit post I found out that's where that quest resolves, but I didn't know exactly how. So over the course of the weeks I've been playing, I've been checking in to see, have they shown up yet? Turns out they could have showed up weeks ago. I just had to reload the area and then they will appear. And I'm like, we're giving like the big studios a hard time for their quote shit games when I'm like, this is clearly a shit thing. So call a spade, I guess.
Yeah. I like your honest approach there.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
I mean, first world problems, right? Like,
yeah, well, whatever.
I feel bad complaining about this during the Ukraine era of nastiness, but hey.
You can complain about both. Ukraine is Ukraine is being treated terribly. Awful stuff's happening over there, and that's a bad mechanic in this game. It's totally fine.
But it's a great game. I enjoyed my time there. I recommend it. It's an easy game for the most part once you level up a bit.
There you
and
go.
Practice.
Nice. Do the tutorial pit though. Go in there.
Yeah, go to the tutorial pit.
Go to the tutorial pit.
Yeah,
It's
go
one
in
of
the
the few
hole.
times somebody says jump down, and you should.
You should
Actually,
jump
you know
down.
how I got the most practice was farming runes. Even it was worth it, and I did this in War Dead Catacombs, but you can do this anywhere. Just stay somewhere and practice fighting. Practice makes a big difference. Like learning to do guard counters and like how they work. It was very nebulous for a while, but once you get into it, I'm like, I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
You're all gonna die, gods.
Yep. Good luck, gods. All right.
Yeah.
Well, that's all well and good. It's time now to move to this real quick,
That's a good question.
where we do emails. Talktothecore@gmail.com is the email address. Here's a quick one from Cyberprobe. That's a cool name. Says in the last episode, it was mentioned something along the lines of, quote, from, meaning from software, was listening to fans and added an NPC tracker, unquote. The patch that added it also included a ton of new quest NPC fixes and even a new NPC itself. The tracker was 100% not due to player criticism, but a feature they didn't have time to finish/polish for the game's release.
I mean, that's a fine clarification, but I don't feel like it changes anything about the point we were making.
No, not really. If anything, it adds to what we said today, which was, these games have such a mystique to them that we are so quick to go, oh, well, that mysterious way that works, the reloading of the area, that's a next level thinking of, like we want to give more credit than maybe is due. Maybe they just were, they didn't finish it. It's okay to admit that.
Yeah, who knows?
I mean, yeah, like because now that I've finished the game, I've watched some bugs videos, and there's like a bug where you can jump off the cliff and no clip without glitching. You just no clip, and as long as you swing your sword, you'll fall forever and earn runes.
Really?
Well, not only that, like if you watch the speedruns, the current speedruns are all from people slingshotting their character through the world. Like,
yeah, I
like,
saw
that's
that.
how people are beating it right now.
If you press down, and it's something stupid like if you press 3 buttons at the same time and hold them down, eventually you'll slingshot through the world. Like I could be wrong about that, but that's what I remember the explanation being. It's not like, oh, hit this pixel and nudge your way in. It's like just press some buttons on your controller and boom, you're slingshotting. Like, fix your game.
So, I mean, I think where I stand typically, unsurprising, is a little bit in the middle. Like at no point have I ever felt like Elden Ring was perfect. I think it's very good. And I think a lot of things that they do deliberate are okay to be done deliberate. But I also think, like Bo said, there's a lot of things in there that could be better. Like maybe it doesn't have to be an on-off switch. It doesn't have to be, well, we either do obscure bad questing or we put little exclamation points above their head and a little tracker on the side of the screen and you go and you get quest complete. Like, it doesn't have to be either or. You can, like I said, I never had to reload an area, but that might have meant I missed stuff. I certainly missed plenty.
Yeah.
But that doesn't seem like a great way to handle things. So I'm not saying that they're above reproach for what they do. I do think modern day developers have a right to be trolled a little bit for being confused why the game is popular. It's like, okay, well, rather than focusing in on the one thing that you're like, the UI is ugly. Okay, so it is. But maybe what you should take from that is that isn't what's going to
or
make your
despite
game get a perfect 10
despite
out of 10.
ugly UI, it still is this thing. Like I agree with that.
Rather than be sour about it, say,
I mean,
okay,
if I was a
why is
developer-
it successful because of a bad UI?
If I was a
like, what does
developer,
it
I'd be
do?
more mad about Vampire Survivors personally than Elden Ring.
You haven't even played Vampire Survivor.
Just looking at it makes me angry. I'm still going to play it and love it, but I'm like, if I was a developer working on Assassin's Creed 523 with the sweetest next-gen graphics, and everyone's like, look at this pixely game for $3, overwhelmingly positive, and like, why can't I get that? We made a beautiful,
I mean, that's the point.
Everyone's
though.
like, look at your shit game, Ubisoft. And then everyone's like, sweet, 8 bits. And,
It's funny. Ubisoft's a good example for you to bring up, because I think Ubisoft is struggling under the weight of presentation and size and all of that, but they're losing their way gameplay wise. They just don't do anything compelling right now. And so part of me wants to say, yeah, something like Vampire Survivor is an example of just a pure piece of gameplay, and it's speaking to people. And why can't Ubisoft do that with their throngs of people and money?
So I've been thinking about this a lot. I have some thoughts. Can I share them?
Yeah, go ahead. Is it a boson type thing, or?
It's not a boson thing. But it's definitely not founded in very solid facts or experience or any expertise whatsoever.
All right.
But you knew that. You've been here for 3 hours. It's your fault.
Yeah, it's your fault for listening. So go for it.
No, but it's just it's the way. I mean, it's pretty obvious stuff. So I might just actually be articulating the obvious. I think that's the worst pitfall. But I think just because of the way gaming sales have to go, they have to sell the novelty on cinematics and graphics. And if you really understand games, it's like Texas Hold'em is a very popular game. It's like the dumbest, most simplest thing, but it's very mechanically expressive and reveals a lot about people's characters. The magic's in the mechanics, not the graphics.
Right.
And I think when you're talking about businesses that scale, they don't They don't have. I think they hire expertise in graphics and all the showy bits for the E3s and the directs, and they don't place enough emphasis on the game design, like the mechanic stuff. That's why something like Vampire Survivors works. It's simple, but it works. It responds to human behavior well. And I think a lot of these large companies, they just can't help but lose their way. And then they get invested in a successful franchise and they want to repeat it when, again, people like novelty. Vampire Survivors is a novelty thing, and Ubisoft, Assassin's Creed, the only novelty it can trade off of is next-gen graphics and new characters. And that's also why I think Elden Ring is a novelty. Even though there's already been lots of Souls games, it's had smaller audiences that have slowly grown over time. And because of George R.R. Martin and the Breath of the Wild comparisons, and a critical fan base that are going to give it solid review scores, we're getting a lot of people playing as Soulsborne for the first time with this game. And that has novelty. And that's, I think, the biggest explanation. Because looking at this, I'm like, how is this really like the best game this year? I'm like, it's probably Psychonauts 2 and not this game, honestly. But that's just not what the zeitgeist is going to report on.
Yeah,
So
I don't know. I
yeah.
disagree with that though. Like I've played From Software games before. It's not a novelty to me. And this is
I'm not saying it's a
easily the
novelty
best-
to everyone, but
This
it's
is
a
easily
novelty.
the best game I've played this year. I don't
It's-
find it surprising that other people agree with that sentiment.
It's not a novelty to everyone because there are people who've played them before, but the sales are record breaking, and that for that game, for that company, that means there are a significant amount of new people coming in.
Sure,
And there
but
are
they're
already
not coming
fans of
in
that
and going. They're not coming in going, well, this is a new experience. Oh God, it's such trash. Like they're coming in and going, this is a new experience, and I love this.
Right.
There was a really
No,
bad.
I'm not saying it's on novelty alone. I'm saying like this has hit a crescendo because it still is novel for a lot of people. And then you're right, the people who like it find this to be very good. So it's that's why like no one's like, I really like Assassin's Creed games. Let's give it a 10 because I like the past ones and now they've done a great job of it. They're stamping out the same sort of shit over and over again.
Right.
But this, it's not. This has a lot of new people playing it.
Wind
trying it
Waker
or getting
is,
in.
in my opinion, better than Ocarina of Time, but it typically reviews lower because it's iterative of Ocarina of Time.
Yeah.
But the thing I would say about the Soulsborne games is, even though they are very popular, they're still considered niche because of their reputation, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of people got into Zelda. A lot of people get into the Assassin's Creeds and the Call of Duties. I'm a gamer. I try a lot of different things. I didn't play much of Souls. I don't think Scott played a lot of Souls games. You bought Elden Ring, and you're only going to get an hour or two in this one. I'm thinking probably career-wise.
I've played about 3.5 hours so far. So yeah,
and that's okay. No judgment, but like it's this one has a big. There's a what is the word for it? There's a mystique to the series, to the franchise, the whole Soulsborne franchise that's been built up over the years.
Yeah.
People in the know feel special for being in the know.
Yeah.
It is a fun game that they enjoy. And I, as a newcomer, understand that because I think it's very enjoyable too. I'd like to rail on its shortcomings only because it is at a high pinnacle in my estimation. But I'm just.
I think I get what you're saying. So
Yeah.
if I understand correctly, like let's say it's a couple years down the line, they put out Elden Ring 2, and by all accounts, they improve on every benchmark that has been criticized about this game. Like they find a way to walk that line with questing, where it's still mysterious and discovery, but it's it's not ridiculous. You don't have to reload stuff. They hit all those benchmarks. It's still not going to necessarily hit as critically hard because at a certain point it's iterative of the first thing that came out.
Yeah.
Like the novelty is Elden Ring was a unique experience to what came out. Elden Ring 2 could on paper be better by every metric and still perform critically, review and opinion wise, lesser because we've played it before.
Yeah, I think that's true of a lot of sequels.
You've already shown us the thing.
Yeah, a lot of sequels, a lot of IPs, a lot of franchises. They suffer from this, and I think that would be not all that different. I think partly what makes those Souls games and Soulsborne games pop every time is they are pretty good at saying, sure, mechanically some similarities, but here's a whole new thing. Like Sekiro's nothing like Elden Ring settings wise, or its location, or its historical whatever. Like making that so different every time, I think benefits those guys. But yeah, you know, Elden Ring 2.
Bloodborne plays extremely different. Like Bloodborne is a game where you basically play as Melania. Like that's how you play that game, because it's all about, oh, I got hit, I need to hit you a bunch to recoup my health. You know, like there's it's a similar formula, but a twist on it. Elden Ring is just another twist that happens to be very widespread and catch.
Do you think there's a backlash coming where players, just to kind of go to something Bo said earlier, they used to be in a bit of a club, right? A little special club. But this is mainstream now. This is not your secret little place of gaming that no one else knows about. Elden Ring is a bona fide monster hit. Do they at some point backlash and like rebel against that and go, bah,
oh, I think so. Yeah.
I
think you're already
fan.
seeing it, because you're already hearing people doing I beat it with no summons. I did it without magic. I did it with this. You know, I didn't use these runes. I didn't use this weapon. Like, they're already trying to find a way to make what they played their own special club.
Yeah. And I would say this game seemed pretty easy for the most part. Like, it didn't seem like as much as the reputation they made it out to be. Not trying to troll.
No, I get it. It's not
with the boss is going after the summons, I'll just hit him in the back of the toes. It's like raiding in World of Warcraft, and I'm the dual wield. I'm the Fury Warrior. I don't have to deal with the tanking. I just hit, and they die and dodge the big stuff.
Yeah.
You know, I could see someone being like, "Well, we didn't have that in Dark Souls 1, man."
Yeah. I mean, I killed Melania in 2 tries. Like.
All right, I get it.
You know, like some of us spend 6 hours doing it. Some of us do it on their second go. They get serious and they do it. Yeah. But I mean, like, that's the thing, is everybody always throws those conditionals on there to try and, you know, once again separate themselves from the pack. And I wouldn't be surprised if we start to see like I don't think it's inherently bad. Like, it's what people do with it. You know, it's like World of Warcraft has a whole community that does Iron Man mode, where it's like, okay, you're not allowed to equip magic items, and you're not allowed you can only die once. And they have all these rules to make the game harder. I don't think there's anything wrong with wanting to give yourself a different experience and using the game's tools to do that. I don't think if somebody wants to go in and go, I didn't use a summon all game, I almost had to do that because I never got the stupid bell for like half the game. And then I was like, this seems like a really easy tool. And I spent hours trying to figure out how to get that damn bell back. Turns out I just had to buy it from someone. But like, I was really frustrated because I was watching other people play it going, oh, this looks like a much easier way to play this video game. But I think it's fine if people want to give themselves that challenge. It's just, what do you do with it when you have it? Like, if you use it to be an asshole, then you're an asshole. Like, at the end of the day, making the game harder is not inherently good or bad. It's just how you react to it.
Yeah, calling it around, like swinging your EP around is where I struggle with people. I'm impressed when I see somebody do something in a game and I'm like, whoa, I can't believe you pulled that off, speedrun or whatever. Super cool. But the minute you go, take that, and start punching down to everybody else who didn't do it your way, F right off. Yeah. No interest.
I mean, the people that are beating it in 6 minutes using Slingshot, like, it's impressive. They've mapped it out. They figured it out. They're doing the thing. That's cool, but I'm not really interested in watching those. I want to watch the person that's going to beat all the bosses in a speed run.
So did you watch the guy that beat all the bosses with nothing but his butt?
What?
No, not with his butt. That's great. I want to watch that one.
There's an ability where you jump in the air and slam down on the ground. And so this guy beats all the bosses. He's a wretch. He's wearing no armor.
Yeah.
He's just got the diaper bottoms on, and he does the butt slam, and he's beating all bosses doing the butt slam. I think at like low level, like he's got fully leveled gear, but he's like level 1 or something like that. It's the same guy who's doing the level 1. I watched a video after beating Melania of a level 1 wretch beating Melania. Like no health, no stamina, perfect timing parries, perfect timing dodges, didn't take any damage, beat her. And I'm like, you know, that's impressive. Like, the one thing about Elden Ring that's impressive is it's like watching a good hockey player. You're playing hockey, but you see an amazing hockey player, baseball player, and you're like, wow, it's a pleasure to watch you work, ma'am or sir. And this game definitely has that shareability. Like, look what I did in PvP, the stick play. Like, there's a from downtown thing I tweeted because it reminded me of Li Ming, where a guy just hucks a fireball in PvP. It's one guy at 3 people he's invaded, and they all just die in one shot. And I'm like, it's fun to share and see those things, right? You're just like, that. Good job, man. That's amazing. It's a cool thing to see.
Did you see the one where it was the guy who got invaded and he impersonated an NPC, and the guy he watched the guy run around looking for him, and then eventually the guy just left because he couldn't find him. He's pretending he's pretending to be one of the torch holders in the woods, and he just walked with the torch out. And he just did that while the invader's running around looking for him, and he just did the pathing on his own. I thought that was amazing. Like, there's some cool stories. I watched another video of a guy who was like, he basically had the basis, which is From Software usually doesn't put things in the game for no reason, and there's a thing you can put in your, I don't remember what it is. It's the elixir that you mix yourself. You decide what goes in it, and you can get 2 that cause you to explode. And he basically made spreadsheets and all of that, and he was like, there's got to be a way to make this useful. And he found a way to make it do thousands of damage and not kill him, because the damage you take is static, but the damage you deal can be enhanced. And he basically just turned it into a PvP item where he would just activate his buffs, drink, and he'd just kamikaze run into everybody and just blow up.
Wow. I want to do that. That sounds like that's fun. Like, the PvP aspect it's trolly and cheesy, but it's kind of fun and comical in that way, where, there's so many items and things to experiment with that it's fun. There's a mecha build too, where you can turn to steel, and then you just launch these madness fireballs from your eyes the whole time, and they can't damage you, and you're just walking like the Terminator and just go.
Wow.
It's like that aspect of the game I really appreciate, and those social community aspects of the game are like among its strong suits. We joke a lot about Fingers Butthole, but like, that's been so meme and worthy and viral, and we're all having a laugh and a good time about it. It's great. Like, that aspect. I wish more games like were baked into the philosophy of the game. There's a lot to really like about this game that other games don't do.
Yeah, and I feel like that open world jank that we usually have with open world games, where I don't know, John Marsden, he's spread eagle the whole game for some reason, and his legs won't come together, or whatever it is, like some strange thing like that. Those are almost always bugs. Skyrim, of course, famous for all that. But this game, I don't ever hear about those. Like, bugs are much more rare. It's more like, I can't believe this boss did this, or I can't believe when I snuck in there and there was nobody there, suddenly a giant foot stepped on me, or the
whatever. Guy who named himself after Will Smith, and he'll invade your games, just walk up to you, punch you once, and then quit out of your game.
Oh my lord,
that's hilarious. That's hilarious to me. Like, it's so weird, the things that people decide to do. Like, it's nuts.
Yeah. I saw there's one Jesus too. Jesus comes in and he emotes at you like to pray.
Really?
Like, you go to PvP, you invade his world, or he invade. I don't know if he invades you, but he was just dressed up as Jesus. I can't remember exactly the details. And the person who was ready to PvP actually got down and did a prayer emote, and just they did their thing together. Like, there's all kinds of weird interactions.
Yeah,
happening. I did a bit of PvP. There's part of me wants to go back and do some PvP. It seems like fun.
Yeah.
I did some to get to Mog's area, like to finish Vari's quest. And I was surprised. I won. Like, I had lost the first one a while ago, but I actually won both matches back to back.
Oh wow!
To get that quest done, just got to do a couple of PvP things, and I had a good time. It's not as bad as all that,
I mean, the game with all the deliberate animation and non-interruptible stuff and all that seems like it actually would be a pretty fun timing-based duel.
Yeah, like I fought 2 of these dual-wieldy fast motion guys that were trying to bleed me, and I just had my big shield strategy. Barricade. They couldn't get through, and I whittled them down. And then towards the end, because as the invader, people can help you invade, and I got a rando drop in, and I'm like, oh, now it's on. Yeah. And it was a 2v2 instead of a 1v2 where I was the one invading.
Yeah,
and we won.
Oh wow,
nice.
I didn't get a chance to teabag him, but my teammate took care of that.
There you go. You got it.
By the way, this game has, can you teabag the opponent? You can.
Wow. Well, all I know is CyberProbe gave us a hell of an email that we went places with your email.
Yeah.
Hell of an
Thanks,
email,
Cyberprobe.
sir.
Thank you, CyberProbe, for all your probing.
CyberProbe. Oh, I thought you said Cyber Pro.
No,
He's
it's
a probe.
CyberProbe.
No, it's probe. It's going inside.
Yeah, it's inside.
Oh, well, make sure to clean before sessions. between
Clean your
sessions.
probe. Yep. Clean your CyberProbe before inserting in your next hole. All right, that's the end of that. Send us, keep those emails coming to us. talktothecore@gmail.com. That's talktothecore@gmail.com. We're getting a ton of these. They're great. I'm trying to get to all of them. We may even have an episode sometime where, if news is a little light, we'll dive into more of your emails.
Yeah, let's do that. I'm into it.
Yeah, I want
Yeah.
to do an email episode.
We should do. I'll see what next week brings. Maybe it'll be a little less insane. I don't know. But anyway, in the meantime, if you would like to help this show continue to thrive and survive, patreon.com/core show is the place to do it. Lots of reasons to join up and only a click away. So go check it out. It's patreon.com/core show. Huge thanks to everybody who's currently supporting us, and tell your friends and get more. That'd be great. frogpants.com/core is our website. And as always, you can watch this show live on Thursday evenings at 5 p.m. Mountain Time at twitch.tv/frogpants. Let's go around the horn and find out if anybody has any final words of wisdom before we leave. John?
Please make sure you properly douche before inserting a cyber probe.
Cyber douche. I got it. I'll get the cyber douche. Bo, anything to add?
Try fingers, butthole.
Oh, man. Even better. Also, one final note. Chat room, I don't know if you've seen it before. I'll put it up on screen. This is somebody made a Wolverine in Elden Ring. And apparently that's a thing to do. You got him in his undies.
Was he in his undies?
He let himself go there a little bit, I think.
He didn't have to be in his undies to be Wolverine. You can be Wolverine in clothes.
He's like a mix of Wolverine and Pablo Escobar.
Yeah, it doesn't look good, but he's got claw weapons, and it's sort of Wolverine.
I got those claw weapons. I
Yeah,
was Wolverine
like
in my
those.
game.
Yeah.
I tried to make a Wolverine build, do a lot of
Yeah.
like life regen, life steal, all of that, so I could just walk in. It was very fun and low-level enemies, and very bad against practical enemies. So it was great.
You can use it on some bosses.
Sure.
But yeah, I like them. The Bloodhound claws, right?
Yeah.
No, this was the other ones, the less
raptor
fun
talons?
ones.
Oh, the
Yeah.
bloodhound ones are the ones I see on all these Wolverine builds. Apparently, it's a thing
Yeah.
to do too. People are just making Wolverines and then.
It's because it gives you a teleport. Bloodhound step teleports you, so it's very flashy, and you dodge. It's super
Oh,
cool.
okay.
You
All
do
right.
use a little teleport, and then you go, hiya! I'm Wolverine.
You heard that, all you fat rollers. Anyway, that's it. We're done.
There you go.
That's an in joke.
Showed him right there at the end.
That's an Elden Ring in joke, and not like an actual
No,
diss. For,
I am not dissing anyone for any reason.
Everybody
we
who
provided-
hasn't played Elden Ring is like, why did God say that?
Why
Yeah.
are you randomly fat shaming?
Yeah, go type Elden Ring fat roller into Google, and you'll understand that I was not offending anyone. Okay? All right. There you go. That's it. Thank you all for being here. Please come back next time for more. In the meantime, go play something. We'll see you then.
This show is part of the Frog Pants Network. Yes. Get more at frogpants.com.
Go and rescue Kitty from the cave. Go and save the city. Magneto is at another place.
Magneto is in another place.
He
Another
drove
place.
there in his car that does not require gasoline.
We did a whole